situation. So, you know, I feel like, yeah, I'm not gonna
You're not gonna make it. You're not gonna risk it. You're not gonna make a prediction here. Well, I'm gonna go with. I think I'm gonna go with Terror, and the reason is because even though BoA has like those really sick busts that we see in a lot of PvTs, Terror is one of the players that will sit in his base and play like, you know, harassment style, and then also build 5 factory and take like a delayed third base. So I don't think BoA's gonna have as good of success going for a bust like that. And we've already talked about multiple times that sometimes BoA can get picked apart by harassment, and we know Terror has stuff like that available to him. So I'm gonna favor Terror a little bit here. However, of course, BoA, a really, really strong Protoss player. It's going to be very hard to take him down. Again, we're looking at the profiles. You can see that BoA got 6th last season, so he had a really nice finish in BSL 10. And then on the left side, Terror, I mean, you can see it. He got 2nd in BSL 3, and then after that, he's just consistently, basically top 8 or better every single time.
Yeah, of course, last season though, he did bomb out early, mostly due to his opponent here, BoA, John Dong, who did win those first two, like very early on in the tournament. So, you know, that's definitely going to be at the back of both of these players' heads. But Terror is the kind of player, like, he is very resilient, I would say. So I don't think it'll let him, he will let it bother him too much. And, you know, we saw against Dandy, he had some sick builds prepared. He had a sick, like, Terror in general is one of these players that has a lot of preparation, I feel like. But BoA is also the type of player that actually has a lot of builds. You know, like, BoA can play a lot of different builds, and we've seen him whip out the DT rush. I know he whips out the DT drop sometimes, and he goes Reavers. Sometimes we've seen him go carriers. In previous BSL season, in the previous BSL season, he can go Arbiters, he can go the bus style. So definitely many different builds, but just, you know, it's gonna come down to the execution, I feel like, between both players and who can kind of compose themselves better.
Yeah, so I was looking back into the round of 24 and round of 16 to see who actually played each other. And of course, Terror and BoA could not have played each other in the round of 16. Otherwise, they wouldn't be matched up in the round of 8. But round of 24, Terror did face BoA, and Terror did take down BoA, actually. So far, Terror is getting the best of him in this particular BSL, so you know that BoA definitely wants to get revenge there. Now, I'm looking at just overall matches for Terror. It seems like most of his games have been versus Terror, and likewise, BoA's most of his games are versus Protoss, so we really haven't got to see him versus many Terran players. Even in the round... Oh, no. In the round of 16, I remember BoA did take down SPX, and BoA kind of cleanly took care of SPX. It looks like our first map is going to be Eclipse. Both of our players are ready, so let's just get straight on into it. All right, in the top right, using Bob Malcolm's energy to make it to the round of 8, it is Terror.
And in the bottom left, whipping out the dong to make it to the round of 8. It is BoA.
And for those of you that don't know, Bob Malcolm made like a hype video for Terror after that round ended. It was posted in the BSL Discord, so you should definitely check it out. Bob Malcolm, always a huge supporter of Terror in the South American scene. Now, this is Eclipse, and we know that this is an aggressive map. However, no probe being sent out, and of course, as I say that, looks like this is going to be a low ground pylon, so we are going to have some forward gate shenanigans. Or we're not. This is going to be a super fast scout and pylon in the main. So instead, it looks like this is going to be potentially a gas steal. Oh no, he did build the pylon as he went by, so this may still be a gas steal. And if he does go for a gas steal, he may kind of evaluate if he can get a fast nexus up. We'll be paying close attention to what he wants to follow up with. Nope, looks like that second probe is going to come down to the main and build that gateway. So we'll see. Does he gas steal or does he just want to be annoying?
Alright, well, I'm back.
Yeah, we do see BoA sent out a pretty fast probe, and he is going to gas steal him. And unlike other players, TerrOr did not cut the SCV. He's just decided he's going to let it happen. Now, an SCV did sneak out. And if BoA is really on top of his game counting the SCVs, he may realize this already. But this could be a second barracks going up for TerrOr. We know for sure that he can definitely pull out a build like this.
Yeah, but I think it could be a second barracks, but he is just kind of scouting around for that proxy. I do like this move from TerrOr, actually, to let the gas get stolen. You know, quite often, if you actually cut the SCV too early and take your gas right away just to prevent getting gas stolen, you're suffering quite a bit economically. Whereas here, yeah, of course, he's going to have to pull 3 SCVs to kill this gas. So far, just 1. But it's fine. You know, it's totally fine to get gas stolen as Terran. It's just a different opening that you have to learn to navigate. Now, the TerrOr's SCV is inside of BoA's base. He does see that there's no gas, though. So already, if I'm in TerrOr's shoes, yeah, I love this from TerrOr. He saw that there's no gas from BoA, so very obviously this is not going to be a core follow-up. It's going to be a gate expand. And TerrOr is going to block the Nexus, rather, and he's going to get his gas. So I do like this opening so far for Terran.
Well, I did notice that TerrOr in the early stages did only pull 1 SCV to attack that gas. So he's getting punished quite a bit because now he has like 6 SCVs off of the mineral line, 4 attacking that gas, 2 at the entrance to his ramp. And he's going to have to be getting his gas up pretty quickly if he wants to kind of come back. Well, as I say that, he gas stole Protoss also, and now BoA has 400 minerals, but where does he put it down, or where does he spend it on?
Well, I don't know what he's going to spend it on, but the eBay does get canceled here, so this is going to be interesting, though, because honestly, this factory is not really coming too early. So this gate expand, I mean, this Nexus is going to be much earlier than the command center, and there's no timing to punish it. So Protoss is just ahead from this opening. Really, there's no other way to put it. I actually think mining this gas is a mistake. He needs to put down his command center, especially after seeing the Nexus. If he puts down a factory here, oh, he is. This is really bad for Terran.
Yeah, so we do see that Nexus has gone down for BoA in the main. I think that's a second gate for him. Cybernetics also going down. Meanwhile, still no command center for TerrOr. He just now started, a second factory. That's what I thought that gas was going into. So he's going to go in and try and bust this natural, but I don't think that's going to work because 2-gate production can pump out a lot of goons. Now BoA, with his base being denied for so long, maybe feeling like, oh well, maybe I can just go spend all this money building a 3rd Nexus. It looks like he has something over there, but I think it was just trying to spot for potential proxy factory.
Oh, the 2 factory build here from TerrOr. Really interesting decision, but you know, honestly, this is going to come so late. I mean, BoA is going to be able to start mining off of his natural. He can just go up to 3-gate. We'll have to see, though, because I don't think BoA has confirmed. Is he checking? I think he just poked in to check if there's a command center. I'm not too sure. Thing is, if BoA knows there's no command center here, it's much easier to play. If he's just assuming this is a command center, though, he might be putting down a robotics, and if he puts down a robotics before going gates first, I feel like he's just not going to have enough units to defend against this 2 factory.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about, but he does have a second gate. Mostly what I was looking for is, did he start range? Because a lot of players, when they think that the opposing player can't really damage them, sometimes they go into a fast robo. This time we see that it is going to be range coming in for BoA. He did not skimp out on that. Robo is coming in also, and that probe looks like it may be setting up to build another pylon and then more gates. But as I say, that probe moving to mid left, so more than likely that's going to be a 3rd Nexus. Looks like there's only 3 goons out so far for BoA, and Terror has how many Marines? Like 12 Marines. He has an academy, so if he can get range and 1 medic, that's going to be so much sustain for him. Damn, that is more than 12 Marines even. And the SCV being sent out forces the Dragoons out of position, so they can't even help the Zealots deal additional damage as this Marine tank ball moves across the map. And that's going to be one goon taking a lot of damage for free.
Just so many Marines, man. Like, I feel like if I were the Protoss player here, I'm looking at this, and I'm just like, what am I playing against? Is this 1 Rax or is this 2 Rax? Like, it's insane. I've never seen this many Marines off of 1 Rax, so this is going to be a really strong timing here, though it is only 2 tanks, so mostly the DPS here is going to be from the Marines. BoA is going to take this engagement. The other Zealots are not quite here just yet. The Zealots are actually going to do a really good job in tanking a lot of the Marine fire. He actually has Siege with this, and BoA goes in but does not have enough units, and now he bled 3 Dragoons, so he's in a really tough spot. Shield battery is up. If he has to snipe this tank, he cannot lose Dragoons. Okay, the shield battery is super clutch. Absolutely sick micro from BoA. These Marines are going to get cleaned up, and if the Marines do die, I mean, that does lower the DPS output of the Terran attack significantly. But behind this, of course, Terror does have two factories, and BoA, meanwhile, I don't know if he's actually increased his gateway count. Might still be only on 2 gates, and if he's on 2 gates, this game might just be over. Oh, okay, he's going for a Reaver. So actually, BoA can almost sack his natural here and still have significant counterplay with the shuttle.
Yeah, the Reaver is the great equalizer versus a build like this. As you mentioned, he can give up his Nexus and be fine. He just needs to make sure that he does not take mortal damage and end up losing the game. Looks like the first Reaver may be already completed. Shuttle and Goon starting to move out into the map. Does he have enough to actually save this space? The tanks are not spread, so they will not shoot. Okay, there's 2 more tanks. Oh, this is ambitious, I think. Shuttle taking a little bit of damage there, actually losing all of its shield. And yeah, BoA's decided that this is a little bit too much, so he's going to try and go for a counterattack, but that's going to leave his main exposed.
Well, I think he's going to hold off the reinforcements somehow, but the shuttle's not really doing anything. It's just flying around, smiling at the Terran army, and Nexus does go down. He does have a Reaver to work with. Maybe he's waiting for the second Reaver. Maybe he's waiting for shuttle speed. Of course, both of those will help. That Scarab is going to dud, unfortunately, so sick micro there from Terror to pull it back. That's a lot of tanks to fight against, and in this situation, honestly, this is really aggressive from Terror, though. The Dragoons could actually get in range of those tanks on the high ground, but Terror is mining it up. Terror is super committed here, by the way. I mean, he's not even taking an expansion behind this, so BoA still has chances, though it is a hard situation to play out. That's the second Reaver coming out, right? I'm not sure. Yeah, the 2 Reavers are going to shoot. There's no focus firing. The problem is those Marines have done a lot of damage onto the shuttle, so another drop there is going to jeopardize the shuttle. Oh man, I think there's just too much Terran here for BoA to deal with.
It looks like that's possibly the case, but these tanks are not firing onto that Reaver. Okay, one of them falls, both of them fall, and that's going to be GG.
It's going to be GG, and the 1 Reaver... Actually, yeah, sorry guys, we got some technical difficulties because Big Jip here did a boo-boo and left the Zoom call instead of lowering or increasing his microphone output. But that is going to be game 1 there, going to Terror with a very unconventional build.
Yeah, you are not expecting to see a 2-fact after getting gas stolen for like the first 4 minutes of the game, and it looked like it was actually going to fail because the shield battery was up and running, but unfortunately those goons, when they engaged that first 2 tanks, not able to pick off that 1 tank. I think one of them survived with a single shot left, so a bit of a mistake there from BoA, but regardless, Terra controlled it well. As you mentioned, I don't think I've ever seen that many Marines in an initial push from a Terran, so definitely BoA was not expecting that. And as we mentioned before, Terror has all types of builds, so now BoA's definitely got to be very wary. Like, hey, if I gotta steal this guy, he's not just going to necessarily take a natural base. He could just do what he did again.
Yeah, he could. That was, oh, well, we're back. Yeah, well, we'll see, man. I don't know, that was surprising. That is... You know, BoA does tend to... Okay, no, we don't have a desk anymore, dude. We're just floating, guys. Yeah, I don't know. That was so weird, man. But it worked. That is Terra's specialty. BoA is going to be feeling pretty bad after that because really that shouldn't work from Terran. But BoA does tend to go for kind of... I don't think he ever confirmed whether there was a command center or not.
Yeah, I don't think so either, because I did notice that Zealot lost all of its shields, but its health didn't look low enough to actually get in and confirm. And that push, sure, it was a lot of Marines. I was kind of expecting there to be a medic, and there was no medic at any point, so that was kind of surprising to me. But I guess, I mean, if you get the victory, it doesn't matter. But now we're going to go into our second game, and I think the players have already picked the map. So let me take a look and see what exactly the second map plans to be.
We got
Oh, it's Polypoid.
Oh, CRVT with the fat 500 donation. You know, thanks a lot again for the support, guys. Sometimes, honestly, Naoki and I, like, we're casting from the Zoom call, which is infinity times more pixelated than what you guys see on the stream. So it's kind of hard for us to read stuff and notice that there's big donations like that. So it's definitely not because, you know, we're not we're not paying attention. But CRVT, thanks so much for the $500, of course. Like Naoki was mentioning earlier, we have met the goal right here quite a while ago. And, you know, this is a good time to thank our sponsor, Esport Fund, for sponsoring the tournament. But mostly, really, it has been due to the community support. You know, the reason the tournament is happening is because you guys last season donated over $4,000 to make this happen. So, you know, yeah, we do have Esports Fund in the background there, but really, this is much more grassroots tournament than you would expect. So big thanks to you guys for the support and the continued support. Again, like Naoki said, the extra money is going to be used for either funding more tournaments, like the ladder tournaments you guys have seen, for any just a bunch of BSL content, guys. So, you know, it goes a long way.
And there's obviously other ways to support too. You can become a Patreon if you want. You can also donate directly. You can do bits. You can subscribe. There's all types of ways to support the BSL. So again, thank you very much for your support. We don't have the map on the screen just yet, but it is going to be Polypoid, and we've seen Terra versus BoA on Polypoid multiple times. I'm remembering back to season 10. BoA attempted to bust uphill multiple times, and I think he was denied multiple times too. So as I mentioned earlier, Terra is somebody that will mass factory off of 2 base. So I think if BoA is planning to do that again, that's not going to be a very successful strategy for him, even though Polypoid is one of the better maps for that. I'm not sure if our players are ready just yet. Okay, they are ready. So let's get into game 2. It is going to be Polypoid. All right, our red Protoss repping Canada. It is BoA.
And our blue Peruvian Terran. It is Terra.
You think we're ever going to see a BBS in the BSL, Mihai? Or is it just always going to be Protoss dictating the early stages of the game?
Well, if there's someone that's going to whip it out, it's this guy.
That is true. I feel like I haven't seen BBS, though, in BSL ever.
No, I mean, it's a bad build.
Okay.
No, I mean, actually, it would be a really good build in the BSL, especially on some of these higher turn rate games or lower turn rate games. BBS, I mean, it can be really strong, actually, because you can kill gate core as well. Frag Crag, the $69 tip.
$69.
Thanks, dude. AKA Plump Manatee in the Twitch chat, a legend. He actually has 10,000 posts on Team Liquid as well, which was surprising. Fun facts, guys, about the viewers.
That is quite a few posts, and I have maybe about 10 posts on Team Liquid.
Yeah.
I've been
You've been
I've
on
been
there
a
since
member
like
there.
2003 or something, right?
Yeah, I've been
2002.
a member since, I don't know, 20 years. I just never ever post. Now, you know somebody who does have a lot of posts?
Who?
Quark. Doesn't he have like 30,000 posts or something?
Yeah, well, he likes to run the lip. So
Okay.
I killed Nyokin with that one. He wasn't expecting it. Yeah, getting back into the game before we tread off into dangerous territory. I feel like it's already too late. The ship has sailed. We're like in the middle of the ocean now. In the maelstrom, going down the toilet. We're getting sucked in. Spiraling into the core of the Earth. But, alright, Terra's actually going for a gasless expand. Now this is always interesting to me. This Rax on the high ground, you know, the big problem this will ever have for Terran is that if you, like on a 4-player map, you can't necessarily scout the Protoss, and if a Zealot shows up, you just have no way of blocking it from getting into your main. So there is a drawback with the SimCity, but for the most part, it's not that big of a deal having the Rax on the high ground. And yeah.
And he can always SimCity it with the depot, so it's okay.
This is so weird though. Like he already made his second depot. He's pumping Marines. This is a really late command center, so Terra's playing ultra safe, but this does delay his build like significantly.
Yeah, it's going to delay it a little bit, and I think that the barracks was blinking again, so that will be 3 Marines coming out potentially. Gas has started for Terra. He's not mining it just yet, but yeah, this is going to delay his factory considerably. The command center is, you know, maybe 10 seconds delayed or something, not a huge deal.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for Terra, I think that this was kind of a mind game. Like, okay, the probe's going to come in, see that Marines are on the ramp, and then back off. But then the probe actually was lucky and last scouted, and now sees that, okay, well, this is just going to be a standard opener. Sure, we know that this is not 12 gas, but because the command center was delayed, it is somewhat similar to a just normal opener from Terra.
Yeah, but fortunately for Protoss, it's not like you really need to adjust too much here, because the reality is it's like a factory opener, but there's no factory behind. Well, I mean, this is still faster, for sure, than factory, but you know, so far this is pretty good for BoA. We'll have to see. You know, BoA does like to go for the 2-gate follow-up sometimes in these situations and really pressures the front bunker. Though, because it's cross spawns, I'm expecting that's going to be a robotics, and then he usually gets the nice observatory and the support bay as well. Gets one observer out. Gets like shuttle observer then reaver, so that's usually how he likes playing this matchup with the 2-gate and then expands. And we'll have to see what Terror's response is. Now, you know, off this Rax expand, it looks like the second factory's coming here. That's not really indicative just yet as to what Terra is going to do. He can opt to go for an early armory here and play more passive. He can opt to go for the 2 add-ons, get tanks, and do a 3-tank push. He can even go for a 4 factory, which is surprisingly strong on cross spawns actually on this map, because you have way more paths to take as Terran, and it's going to be an eBay.
Yeah, eBay follow-up. He didn't get into the main of BoA. He only saw 1 goon, so he doesn't know exactly what's going on. So this is the safe move from Terra, making sure that he doesn't lose to anything stupid like delayed DT. Like we saw Dragon pull out versus Casper, where Casper just got literally just 2 DTs walked to his base and there was no detection. So this is a pretty nice move from Terra. Now, you're talking about how 4-fac could be a potential follow-up. I was thinking that this could be the 3-tank follow-up, and the reason for that is, even though it's cross-spawn, you know, you got to think about, well, I know that he knows that this is not a good move to go for a cross-spawn tank push. That's why I'm going to go for it. But now that turrets are coming in, I don't think that's necessarily going to be what we're going to see. Also, no upgrades are being built for Terra right now, so I'm curious what he's actually building.
Yeah, this is for sure the 3-tank push. He doesn't have a second gas, making 2 tanks. No upgrades on machine shop. It literally can't be anything. I mean, you know what's nice about this build here is you don't need to push out with the 3 tanks. Like you don't need to go across the map
Yep.
because really you're getting double vulture upgrades behind it, and the tanks just kind of clear the dragoons out from your from the front, and then you have vultures out on the map applying pressure. And behind it, you can still build a relatively early armory. Though by now his armory should have been coming. If he was planning on playing a more passive style, I would say. But we'll see. The 3 tanks are out with the 3 Marines. Still needs to wait for vultures here.
And I like what Terror's doing with this SCV because he confirms where the goon positioning is, and that allows him to sit on this high ground or take the high ground safely. Yeah. Like if he had just moved out into darkness, easily there could have been 6 goons there sitting there and waiting, just sniped all of the tanks, and then this entire game is completely over. Now the observer timing is great. It spots the incoming attack. Now this attack, it's a 6:45 attack, and usually this attack comes out at around like 6:20 or so. So you can see the effects on having this delayed gas on his actual push, and that's going to give BoA almost one more entire cycle of goon production to deal with it. Even the Reaver is going to be out in time. So really, I think Terror should consider just turning around right now. You can see that he is trying to bait some movement with the goons, draw them out of position, and he is going to turn around. That is a command center going up. So this was really nicely done. If he had overstepped there, he easily could have lost his whole army. And what this did get for him is it did force Protoss to just build units. If Protoss can feel like they're going to be able to defend with 4 goons and expand, they're going to be feeling great. But now that he's forced to build 10 goons, it's going to delay, his power spike into potential arbors or gateway floods. So even though Terra got no damage, this was a really nice move.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Protoss is fine with this though. This is again super standard here from BoA. Made just the right amount of dragoons to take his 3rd base like relatively early. And now he's going, he's got that robotics up, he's got the Reaver shuttle out, getting Citadel really early, so he is going to go into basically 6 or 7 gate speed lot, 10-minute attack. And looking at Terra's build, this is really scary for the Terran because, when you expand this, or like this is how you used to play this matchup, right? You can expand off of 2 factory, but that's against Protoss. Well, hold that thought. Shuttle is going to come in here. There are no turrets. There's shuttle speed. The turret is in the back, but I mean, you can just unload the Reavers and shoot it. BoA is not going to do that, though. He is playing awfully conservative with this Reaver. He's going to find a nice spot in the main. That Scarab did way less damage than you would expect. And now this shuttle is kind of stuck, but it is forcing a lot of SCVs off the mineral line.
Yeah, but there's a turret at the bottom, so this shuttle really is stuck. This Reaver just has to get as much damage done as possible. He's going to try and run through the turret, but that's not going to work. Better unload.
Oh, no.
The shuttle does fall. Now, even though the shuttle and Reaver does die, he does confirm that this is 4-fact follow-up. It did deal a decent amount of damage. It forced SCVs off the line, as he mentioned. But Terra does have his 3rd base up and running, so he's going to have an influx of minerals coming in pretty soon. Starport, okay, there's the armory. I was wondering if +1 was started, so it looks like this is going to...
That was such a massive blunder, though, losing that shuttle, because the whole point of this build is he's going to bust this 3rd, but now all of a sudden he's missing a shuttle in the Reaver. And I was trying to say, like, taking this 3rd this early in this matchup in the current meta, you just cannot do it off of 2 factories. Like, this early, you just cannot. You get busted. But without the Reaver and the shuttle, like, look, there's only a bunker here. Okay, well, he has another shuttle. Zealots unloading. Is this going to be enough? The bunker's going to do a lot of work. More Zealots coming in. The SCVs, though, they can't get on top of the Dragoons, but there's not quite enough Protoss units. I mean, all of a sudden, though, the tanks do blow up. The bunker is doing a lot of damage. This is...
Whoa.
This is so close, Nyokin.
Yeah, I thought for sure that Terran was going to easily hold this, but now with the bunker and all the tanks on the high ground gone, SCVs are really the only thing keeping these Zealots and Goons at bay. There's only 3 tanks. Now 2 more Vultures are going to join the fray. But if we look at the supply, it's still dangerously close. A decent amount of SCVs went down there, but it still looks like there's about 10 or so left over. So for now, Terra is going to hold on. Behind this, more Zealots coming in, but we saw that BoA only has 6 gate production versus 4 fact production for the Terran player, so this is not going to be enough actual Protoss units coming in to barrel through with a secondary attack. Another shuttle coming in. I think this is going to die too. May trigger some mines. Oh, there's a Reaver. Now he might be able to pop these tanks. There's 2 tanks going down. And now maybe these Zealots can actually get on top of the remaining tanks.
I think BoA's done it. You know, the only thing is that this third is still mining. It's mostly Zealots. They can be dealt with eventually. You kind of want to have a group of Dragoons, a round of Dragoons get built to replenish your Dragoon ball here. But that's a lot of damage. And behind this, there's still only 4 factories for the Terran. I mean, it looks like actually Terra is going to be able to stabilize this base, but there's more units funneling from the main base of BoA. Finally, the Dragoons are here, so they're definitely going to force this command center to lift. Behind this, Protoss is looking to take a 4th, but not quite there just yet. This is nice positioning from Terra, though. The tank in the back is going to be hard to get on top of, but there are no mines, and it is just 1 tank. You know, 1 tank doesn't actually do that much damage. Surprise, surprise. So, though it is cleaning up some of these Dragoons, it does go down to the friendly fire of the other tank. This is a lot of damage, though, to take as Terran. And finally, BoA behind this is taking a 4th base, so shoring up his position. And this 3rd base is still compromised, and the problem is that Protoss is basically on 7 gates right now, whereas Terran still is on this 4 factory, so 5th factory is going to finish now, but is it too little too late?
Yeah, we do know that Terror did get his science facility, so +2 weapons should be coming in, or it should have been started. We can see that he just started +1 armor there. But yeah, with the lack of tanks, BoA's going to be able to continuously pummel this 3rd base. Also, he lost his bunker, and he's continuing to have to build more turrets. Now, what I'm curious about is that right there is there any Templars out on the field for BoA? And the answer is yes, because 2 or 3 are already there. Another Reaver, I'm surprised, but it may find some kills onto these Vultures. That was a good hit, wiping out 2 of them. And as you mentioned, top middle is being taken by BoA.
Yeah, the Reaver is doing a lot of damage now, killing a couple of Vultures, killing the turrets. Of course, the turrets are actually quite important to kill because they eventually just kill the shuttles, which is really annoying as Protoss. I mean, these shuttles are not cheap, guys. They're 200 minerals each. So, plus the robotics build time, so you're not building OBS or you're not building Reavers. It's very, very expensive to get these shuttles. And actually, you know, just in general, BoA, I mean, it's not really too much of a factor right now, but he's on a very, very low observer count. So if ever Terra gets out onto the map with Vultures and starts mining up everything, it is going to be hard for Protoss to start moving around. But the problem that Terran has at this point is that, you know, Terran's been on 2 gas forever, but we're kind of stuck on these 3 bases, and we have a big decision to make. You know, we could skip you know, standard is to just scale your factory count up, which is what he's doing, but he's going to have to take a 4th base relatively soon here because you just can't sit on 2 gas for that long. But Protoss, on the Protoss side, though, it's not like Protoss is taking up too terribly fast. It's not like we're getting the Arbiters too fast, and, you know, there's no 5th base just yet. So both players kind of slowly building up to kind of the standard breakpoints you would see in this matchup. But Terra, I mean, he is still, there's no Stargate yet for Protoss actually, so this is starting to, you know, BoA is going to have to start doing something soon enough.
Well, I was going to say that I thought Terra was going to go into the 3-2 style and just kind of buy time with Vulture harassment, but the fact that he has a vessel coming out makes me think he may even try to move out with +2 weapon. This tank drop is pretty cute. The Reaver and shuttles are going to try and come over here and save it. Oh, okay. He's not going to waste the storm on these.
That's so scary, seeing a Templar drop there.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was going to get popped by the Vulture as soon as it unloaded. Now, this is a mistake if BoA goes for this. He may be feeling like he dealt a lot of damage. He eliminated all of the SCVs at the 3rd base. But look at the supply. It's 155 to 141.
But it's mostly Vultures, and Terran has, like, Terran's not on the high ground. So if Protoss can take the high ground, which he easily can, then all of a sudden, all his units just take that, like, they take so much reduced damage from the tanks on the ground. That's a lot of turrets, though. Shuttles will have to pay attention to that, but BoA is going to go for it, and this high ground is going to be really good for him. The turrets are just putting in work, though, completely denying the shuttle drop from coming in. Storm's going off. And again, you can see there's just not that much DPS coming from the tanks, like on the high ground. Well, that being said, the Zealots do get evaporated. Dragoons do trade off a bit, but once the Zealots go down, BoA disciplined, and you know, he does pull back. Kind of a botched attack there from BoA. Really, the shuttles, like, he saw the massive amount of turrets and hesitated, pulled back the shuttles. I don't know if that was like a missed input or what, but once you commit with those shuttles to run over the tanks like that, you just got to go, man. You can't really have a second thought about it. And that was a 6-6 trade for Terran. And now look, Terror's got 2-1 upgrades.
Yeah, Terror does have 2-1, and as you mentioned, he mostly has Vultures, so he's not going to be feeling confident to move out just yet, so more than likely, this is going to be the 3-2 style. We see the 4th Command Center is almost done for Terror, and this is something that he does best once the game starts going more in his favor, is he is one of the few players that will lay mines absolutely everywhere.
Yeah.
We see that the 5th base is up for BoA at mid-right. The tank drop ended up being taken out, and honestly, that's a very expensive drop to lose. Meanwhile, bottom right is going up for BoA too, but he's playing more of the style, which is just pure gateway man with upgrades in Storm. Like, there's no Stargate anywhere. If you're looking for a Stargate, it just flat out doesn't exist. And this is one of the things that I really don't like about modern PvT is lack of really, really high-tech units, whether it's Arbors or whether it's Carriers. It's once Terran gets 3-2, there's almost no ground army that can kill it. I mean, Storm is great. If you got zombie Storms, yes, it can work. And look at this Vulture harassment. Forces an Archon even while also picking off 2 expensive High Templars.
Yeah, I'll say this about Terror. And, you know, that's what's funny about Terror, actually, because he does tend to be the most aggressive player. Like, you know, we saw last game, the most insane build I've ever seen. But he actually has, like, out of all the Terrans in this tournament, I actually think he has the best late game TVP. And whenever I see him play late game TVP, he actually plays it really solidly, and he's willing to just take more bases and, as you said, like, mine up the map, and kind of has a really good grasp on it. So this is looking pretty solid for Terror, because, you know, he definitely plays this well. And honestly, now we're getting into territory where Terran really starts to get scary. You know, we're up on 4 base. We're going to have 3-2 soon. Once that 3-2 hits, like you said, Nyokin, no Arbiters, no Carriers in sight. 3-2 steamrolls Protoss. Absolutely just demolishes Protoss. And, you know, we saw BoA, actually, he was on 1 Forge for a really long time. He only has +1 attack. These gateway units are... Okay, he has +2 now, which is really important breakpoint for him to actually be able to kill the Terran units. But once 3-2 hits, man... Terra can just run around the map and kill Infinity Protoss units.
Oh my gosh, he wipes out 3 more Templars, sacking just Vultures that he doesn't even care about, because, as I mentioned, he wants to build up his tank count. That's what beats this type of style from Protoss. And because this is Polyploid, Terra, even though he's mined out in his main and natural, should be able to get up his 5th base at bottom middle pretty easily. So this is getting quite scary for Terra, or for BoA. And yeah, finally there's a Stargate. Now, what I was going to mention before is Protoss 2-1 is surprisingly good versus 2-1. And after that, versus 3-2, I think you kind of either have 3-3-3 across the board. Otherwise, it's like almost not even worth upgrading armor and shields. I mean, that's my personal opinion. But I do notice that 3-3-3 versus 3-2 is a noticeable difference for Protoss. Look at this, so many gateways going up at bottom middle. That's going to be 10 gates at bottom right. Meanwhile, top right has like 15 gates. So this is 25 gates.
Yeah, both players playing really well. But this is the point where, for Terran, it starts getting hard. Well, he does have +3 attack. That's really the most important upgrade. +2 armor is important too, but, you know, just make sure you have that +3. The problem is Terran is only on 2 base now, so he's not going to have too much steam to work with. But you know what's good for Terran is that they can be extremely cost efficient. So, you know, you can make a lot of things work off of very little resources. But this is, like, he's hit 3 attack. He has a maxed out army. This is where you go as Terran. It's no longer time to sit on your side of the map and take an expansion or whatever and just play passively. Here you unsiege all your units and you start attacking. You start going to kill bases. And it looks like Terra's just more bent on trying to run vultures around and harass and build up his tank count. And that's all right. But the problem is he's only on 2 bases, Nyokin. So really, behind this, he's not going to have a big bank. And then like if his push just is not constantly cost effective, he's just going to run out of steam. So, well, there he goes.
That is a lot of tanks. That is a monster army. And he has 3 vessels, so he's got a lot of EMP. Whether he hits Templars or not, obviously he wants to. But even if he doesn't, he's going to be dealing thousands of points of damage to the shields if he can find the actual... Look how clumped that is. 1 EMP would deal like 2,000 damage to shields instantly. So BoA needs to be very, very careful. And what I'm noticing from this comp is look how few goons there are. There's like 10 goons and that's it. Vultures absolutely murder Zealots, especially if they're EMP'd. So let's see how well of an engagement BoA can get.
Oh, this is really good for Terran. Some EMPs going off. The storms are really what's going to decide this engagement. Most of Terran's army is on the left side, not actually outputting any damage. And the storms were sick. There's no EMP on top of these 6 Templars in the back. Doesn't matter if you have 3-2. When the storms go off, they don't care about upgrades. They just kill everything in sight. And still, that was obviously a good... Well, I mean... Look, Terran does get ahead supply-wise, but look at the bank there, and like really, Terran cannot drop below 160 supply because that's when the army starts getting really small. BoA's gonna spend all his resources. He's gonna be remaxed soon. Now this is scary. This is where Terran needs to make something happen. He needs to kill this middle only. Needs to kill mid right. He is killing top left. This is the most crucial point in the game right now.
Yeah, this minefield is going to be really difficult to get out. And bottom right, remember, there is tons of gateways there. So he's going to be able to set up a nice flank. Now, we were talking about how well Terror mines out the map. But on the bottom right side of the map, there are no mines. So these Zealots are going to go unhindered streaming across the map. However, without lack of goon support, I mean, essentially it's just going to be Zealots running into tanks and vultures that are already set up. These mines are fantastic, dealing so much damage to the Zealots on the top side.
Such a disjointed attack, but finally BoA's reinforcements are coming from the 6 o'clock, but some of them are Templar. They do get some storms off, and Terror is also rallying his own units. A lot of vultures, really. A couple tanks on the high ground sieging the mid-right. It looks like BoA is going to push through this one. The D-Matrix, though, is really sick. That one Nexus at mid-right does go down, so that's huge for Terror. And this other Nexus is going to go down as well, so Terror doing exactly what he needed to do. The only problem is he needs to secure his 5th base, which is going up at 6 o'clock. So all of a sudden, this is looking really good for Terran. But again, Terran's at 130 supply. This can crumble at any minute.
Yeah, even though... look at you remember the bank that BoA had? It was like a 6K bank. Well, that's gone. It's down to 600. And now this Protoss player that was mining 4 or 5 bases is essentially down to 2, just top, middle, and bottom right. Now the attack is finally going to get cleaned up. But so many losses across the board for both sides. Now really all Terror has to do is deny bottom right, because top middle is going to be mined out maybe within the next 5 minutes or so. And really the only base that's really super important is bottom right, because it looks like that's the direction that Terror also wants to expand. But because of how many gateways are up on that particular spot, it's going to be really hard to push into. So maybe Terror should consider just expanding to top left instead.
Yeah, now this is where it gets hard. I mean, both players actually, I feel like, you know, I was talking about this is going to be like the deciding point in the game. I feel like both players have struck each other blow for blow. It's not quite clear who's in a good position. It's such a massive deal for Terran to be able to establish this bottom middle base. But at the same time, Terran got their entire army wiped. So the tank count got reset. That takes a long time to build back up to. And you can see Protoss is just having a much easier time re-maxing, though the Vulture Harass from Terror has been spot on. I don't know how many Archons he's forced at this natural, but that unit is useless in this matchup. I mean, slowly but surely, Terror's looking in a good spot, but he has to hold on to this bottom base.
I think BoA's about to end this game, because once this base falls, it's going to be 1 base mining for Terror at mid-left, and that's it. Also, all those Vultures are across the map, so they can't support the tanks. We imagine that there's Storm in that shuttle, but oh, you gotta unload them. But still, Zealots and Dragoons are just flooding in here, and maybe Terror will hold on, but he's gonna be losing so much.
Yeah, and now BoA has the high ground to work with, so he can just engage these units as they come up to the ramp. He doesn't really need to engage them. Can't lose too many of your units, though. This is 3-2 Terran. God Terran big dick upgrades, absolutely insane the amount of value these units get at this stage of the game. But you know, behind this, BoA has reestablished his mining bases, and he killed a bunch of these SCVs. So again, you got to look at Terran supply. Not only does Terran need multiple bases in this situation, and that, you know, Terra is hitting those check marks, getting top left going, but you're really looking at Terra. Is he going to be able to hit 160 supply, 170 supply? If he gets up to 160, 170 with 3-2, he's going to have a massive force running around the map and really causing trouble for Protoss. But as long as he's down at this 130, 140 supply range, you know, Protoss is still in a fine spot. And now with Arbiters out on the field, if he can find some 6 stasis, that could be the game-changing play.
Okay, but BoA's got to be very careful moving into this position. Arbiter looks like it has enough energy for 1 stasis, also 1 recall. We don't know if he has the recall upgrade. Oh, he missed the EMP. Well, it looks like BoA's going to now re-situate down to the bottom side. Another Arbiter coming in. I think that's kind of just a miss rally or something. You can see that BoA thinks that top or bottom middle is taken, but it isn't actually.
Yeah, he just checked. That one Dragoon checked at the bottom. Now he's going to walk back up to this side of the map. Because the EMP was whiffed there, he does have 2 stasis to work with. 2 stasis can represent a lot of units. Cannot lose this Arbiter for free! It goes down before casting any spells, and all of a sudden, this position is going to be much harder to break. Okay, that Arbiter has enough energy for a recall. Is he going to go for a recall? That would be massive. That would just completely shut this down. It would force the Terran units to split. But at the same time, a lot of the Protoss units might be stranded to top left. So basically, BoA will have to engage this army at the middle only at some point for sure. Here comes the recall, though. This is going to be massive.
Yeah, this is going to be a dead base at top left. And there is the recall. It's going to be 2 tanks going down. Command center is going to fall too. And Terror, what can he do? He's not feeling confident enough to move. Also, notice that he hasn't been able to reinforce that army at top left either, because Protoss is just sitting in the center of the map. So I'm curious what his actual move is going to be. He's got the mineral only there, so he's going to try and just start mining that. But really, he's going to be mining out pretty soon. Meanwhile, BoA's retaken mid-right. Oh, there's the move. He's going to deny top middle with a lot of tanks, but he needs to support these tanks.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good attack here from Terror, but now come the Protoss units. Arbiters on both flanks. This Arbiter has stasis to work with. He's gonna stasis 2 tanks. That's good enough. But really, you can see because Terror moved a bunch of his tanks to 12 o'clock, they're all disjointed, and this Terran ball is just not quite together. BoA is gonna have enough units to break through here, and that's gonna be it for the Terran player. All the SCVs get stormed into oblivion. No more workers, no more units. Terror is gonna try and have a last rallying fight here, but the storms go down on those units. Arbiter, Templar, GG, and damn, that was a game.
Yeah, that was what a game. I can't believe that that BoA was able to actually hold off Terror's counterattack in the center of the map. That big fight we had in the center of the map, Terror wiped out 40 supply of BoA instantly, and I thought, wow, the Protoss is just going to lose their whole army, but luckily those storms managed to take down a lot of the tanks before they ended up falling, and that was kind of what salvaged the game for BoA, because that bank he had, God, it evaporated very quickly after that fight.
Well, 3-2 is strong, but really, if Terror had won that mid fight more convincingly, he would have just won the game. But the sick storm, you really cannot lose too much supply as Terran in that situation. Like 3-2, it's got to be effective. And if you start getting your tank stormed and everything stormed, that's really what decided it. Because if he had left, like if he had even 10 more supply in that situation, game's over, you know? So the mid fight was crucial there for BoA, despite the fact that he actually, you saw that, like he got dropped down to like 80 supply, which is insanely, it's hilarious. It was literally all their units in that fight. But Protoss got a good enough trade, and even then it was barely good enough to really trim the Terran army. And Terra just never had enough tempo after that. So, because he was struggling to rebuild again, like, yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was like, you know, once you get up later into the game, you want to go up to like 10 factories, 11 factories, not necessarily stay on those 9 factories and maybe even a 4th add-on. But Terra's economy was struggling that whole game because we saw it was hard for, like, he took his 5th base really late. His main and natural were mined out really fast. And of course the mineral only is only 6 mineral patches, so it's not that much income. So he was on really low eco. That push had to just be way more efficient.
Well, you have to remember the busts at his 3rd base did a lot of damage. He had to rebuild his tank count over and over. So even though he wasn't able to get a victory here, you got to be feeling pretty good about his chances, because he managed to hold on to the game relatively well for what happened to him. Now we're going to be getting into our 3rd game pretty soon, and I'm checking to see what the map is going to be. Next map is going to be Overwatch, and I'm thinking back to Eclipse where we saw the gas steal, but then, oh yeah, there was pressure with the Zealots, but that opener from BoA really didn't work out very well for him. I imagine that he's not going to do that again.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what the next map is. Actually, we do know what the
It's
next
Overwatch.
map is. It's Overwatch, yeah. So on Overwatch, that is actually quite a decent Protoss map, I would say, compared to the rest of the map pool. You know, in general, the map pool is the current map. I mean, Terran is so strong right now. It's in such a strong place in both matchups, and that's largely due to the fact that the maps are very standard. And Terran's a really strong race. But Overwatch, there's a lot of complications for Terran, and carriers can be really strong. And the layout, I mean, you know, what's nice for Terran on this map, on Overwatch, is that there aren't that many bases, so you can kind of foresee like a easier split of the map. But the carriers can be such a pain on this map.
Yeah, that is one of the things that I really dislike about Overwatch, is if you do fall behind, they can switch into carriers, and it's extremely hard to come back. Luckily for TerrOr, he's not playing Bonneth, because if it was Bonneth, you know for sure that would be his go-to build. Now, we did see a bunch of players last week kind of abuse the small bridge, drawing players out of position to the high ground and then instantly going for a counterattack. And with BoA's style, where he likes to go for a bust, that may be his go-to move here. So it looks like our players are ready. Let's get into Game 3. It is going to be on Overwatch. All right, in the top left, coming off a nice victory on Polyvoid, it is BoA.
And in the bottom right, it is Terror. In the Terran, red from Peru. Not magenta, so I'm guessing we're playing.
Oh, that's true.
Well, yeah, probably because we got allied colors.
It's because it got shift tab on.
Uh,
There's no way he's not playing without magenta. It's impossible.
Well,
what's your go-to color in game?
I don't care. I'm playing on allied colors. My go-to color is red.
Red?
Yeah.
You know, when I was casting...
Red for blood.
Okay. When I was casting previous BSLs, I liked the gray and the...
opponents, dude.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
With what move are you going to kill him? What's your finishing move? What's the Gypsy WWF finisher?
Damn. I haven't thought about that one. This is what I do. I rip the cord. I rip my headset cord out of the computer jack. I strangle the guys, and then I wrap the cord around their throat. Then I throw my headset so far that it decapitates them.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you know, there's a new Mortal Kombat coming out. There's trailer just got released a few days. You don't care? Come on.
The movie? The games suck.
Okay.
Mortal Kombat games are like the worst fighting games ever. I'm actually surprised people even play those. But the movies, I don't know. I've never watched the movies. Anyway, the original intent of like the red and stuff was to interrupt you while you were talking about your casting story.
You don't want to hear it.
No, I want to hear it now.
I forgot now.
Yeah,
so you got lucky. You don't have to listen. Instead, you get to
12
hear
Nexus,
me rant
dude.
about 12 Nexus. Yeah.
And we don't have a gas. This is
There's no
disastrous.
gas. Well,
You
hit
can't
me
stop
with
this.
why it's disastrous.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure you know. Terror, he is magenta.
There
I
it
told
is.
you.
Yeah, of course he's magenta. He's never not magenta. He's
Well,
always magenta.
all right, let me tell you why it's disastrous. Because you need a vulture to kill this, man. Now, like, you can't just kill this with Marines. And Overwatch, I feel like probably the rush distance is a bit too large to straight up kill it with Marines. He could. Terror could kill this with Marines, but he needs to pull a significant amount of SCVs. 8 to 10. This is a tricky spot. This is such a terrible spot to be in as Terran, man. But I don't know, like, because it's Terror, I feel like just like on that Eclipse game, he's gonna whip out this build and it's just gonna work somehow. But if he takes an expand, he's behind.
He's behind if he takes expand. Well, what else can he do? He doesn't have gas, so he has to expand.
Who knows, dude?
Well, he did take his delayed gas here, so I guess he also recognizes that going straight command center not going to be ideal. Now, in the past, my go-to move was to take a third base off of just mine expand and just try and get away with that. But of course, since Terra didn't go for us, that's not a possibility. But even if he did, with more Protoss players just attempting to just bum rush you, I think you could easily overextend taking a third base. So I don't think that would be a wise move. Now, okay, yeah, that's what I was looking for. Is he mining 3 on gas? Are we going to see a double factory? Now he's put 2 onto gas. I don't see an academy anywhere, so I don't see like some type of weird marine medic push.
Yeah. I don't know. It looks like maybe he's just gonna take the disadvantage here and play, which is like the ultimate mind game, really coming from Terror, because it's like you would expect him to throw in something crazy here, but it looks like he might just play it out. The lag is kind of insane today. It's really unfortunate, but it is going to be playing. He's going to play very standard here, 2 factories. Now, generally against 12 Nexus, if you have this command center, like the Rax expand, right? I feel like the only really go-to build is 4 factory.
4 factory? All right. Well, what's the benefit of 4 factory? Because,
well, Protoss tech is always late here, unless they skip range on the core.
Oh, well.
Yeah, but even with Citadel, like, you can afford Academy. Here's the thing: why 4 factory? Because when the Protoss goes 12 Nexus like this, they can't really have the range fast, and even if they go for range, then they delay their tech. So even if they would go Citadel, like, the only problem with 4 factory is something like if you skip range, then go straight DTs. But in this situation, because they don't have range fast, then you're not getting your bunker hit. So you're not wasting a lot of minerals on repairing it. So you can actually afford getting an academy even with the 4 factories. So just everything is really strong for 4 factory in this particular situation. But it looks like BoA is going for DT drop.
Yeah, DT drop coming in. eBay block at the third base. No academy, no eBay anywhere in sight for Terror. So this could be game-ending damage once the first DTs come out. Also, tanks are coming out for Terror, so no mines, no speed anytime soon. Yeah, that is Robo and the Templar Archive. Now, I don't see any factory flood from Terror either. He doesn't have his nat gas, so no fast upgrades coming in for him. I mean, everything looks normal. Like, I wasn't expecting him to have a nat gas, but I was just curious if he did. Templar Archive is done, so the first 2 DTs are going to be coming out soon. Now, this looks like it's going to be Stargate follow-up, maybe.
This is so weird from BoA, man. I mean, no, this is actually not weird. This is for sure DT drop. It looks like behind us, Terror went 2 factories, getting all his upgrades and getting Armory Academy, so playing really standard here. And he's actually... Is he ahead in supply? Yeah, he is ahead in supply. That's really weird. So maybe BoA actually cut quite a bit on this build. But Protoss definitely should not be behind in supply right now.
No way should he be behind. Even if he does go for fast tech like this, but the DTs are out. Shuttle's going to be coming out, and this could be an anti-timing for Terror, because I imagine that once the academy finishes, obviously he's going to get ComSat, but I expect him to instantly scan, and the reason I expect it is because if DTs were going to come, I feel like Terror would have expected it to come by now. So really, there's no reason for him to bank the scan. And the shuttle, luckily, flies over a mine, so maybe Terror will hold on to it.
Well, the eBay is not quite done. He does have an armory, though, so presumably a couple of Goliaths are queued up in the factories at this point. The proxy eBay there is going to get canceled. With the Stargate there, yeah, definitely this is going to be... well, I mean, that's so weird. You would expect to go carriers on the...
Oh, he scanned the main! He scanned the main!
He has no detection.
He has one left. Oh, he scanned the mid left! He has no scans left! Literally anti-timing for his Terror. He used up all of his scans right when the ComSat finished, and that was before turrets even started.
You hate to see it. Naokin, well, he does have one more scan, but turns out you can just pick them back up and not care.
Oh, I thought he scanned mid-left, but it looks like that's a pylon over there.
Yeah, looks like a pylon. But he is going to buy himself some time to put down the turrets now. This really needs to do... I mean, what kind of damage are we looking at doing here, Naokin? Because... really, Protoss behind this, he's not really all in or anything, obviously, and he's going to get Arbiters coming out, so really delaying Terror from taking a third base and scouting that this is 5 factory, I feel like is it's accomplishing what this drop really needed to do. But he's still behind on supply.
Yeah, I'm surprised at how low the supply is. It's 80 to 76, and this move out from Terror is not exactly something that I would go for, but I guess he smells blood in the water because he's moving across. He's even got a turret push going to that small bridge. Somehow these tanks are getting across the map, and look at that skimpy army. There's like 8 goons.
I mean, this is 5 factory against 3 gate, man.
Yeah.
Like, what can you do
Arbiters,
as Protoss here?
Arbiter's coming, but... it's not out just until...
he has to keep these DTs alive, man. There's not that much scan to work with. There's no vessels coming. So really, it's the DTs that are keeping him alive. But they go down. The shuttle goes down. But not after all the tanks get cleaned up. So that was massive for BoA. It looks like they're going to evenly trade-ish. Oh, he's going to YOLO on top of the tank. That's actually a fine decision because the tanks are really what's important. At this point, he's got 6 gate against the 5 fact. No more tanks to work with on the Terran side. These vultures, though, they can slip in. This is the dandy type play where you just sack your army and get in some vultures and kill the economy. And we've seen BoA basically lose to this type of play. So Terror has some counterplay here, but he's in a rough spot if he doesn't kill a lot of probes.
I think he's in an okay position, assuming he gets the probes. Like you said, DTs and goons trying to save the day. That Arbiter still isn't out. Look how many probes there are in the main. So BoA doing a good job to keep his probe production going. Looks like more units are trying to stream across this bridge. But as you mentioned, not that many tanks. BoA did a good job to dwindle that tank countdown. First Arbiter's out, and with 2 scans, you have to be very, very decisive with your scans and very effective with them because you can't just scan forever, and I think that was a bit of a wasted scan.
Yeah, there goes one, and this is really not enough units here. And the problem is these Arbiters are just going to continue increasing in count. Energy is going to go up. Stasis is going to be available. Behind this, if Terra gets a vessel, that's really going to cripple a lot of what he's doing. He doesn't have a third base just yet. Doesn't have the 2-1 upgrades at least. He doesn't even have a starport. So really, he only has 2 scanners to play with against this Arbiter. And like you said, he only really has 1 scan now. His scanners are super low energy. Oh man, this is a bad spot to be in as Terran.
Yeah, last week I talked about, I briefly mentioned that when Terran scans 2-base Arbiter, they don't necessarily think about going for a timing, and this is one of the reasons, is because even if you have the army to fight it, you don't have endless energy. You flat out just can't scan forever, and now you can see Terra's just turning around. Sure, this time around he doesn't have enough, but if he did, and you just don't have the scans, I mean, you can't fight it. So this is going to be BoA, more than likely, maybe not ending the game right here, but it's going to get him his 3rd base. It's going to get him his 4th base. Terror, I think, just now started his command center. in his main. I haven't seen a starport or Vesto anywhere, so there's no powerful upgrades for him either to bank on.
Yeah, it don't matter though, because it looks like Protoss is just gonna force the issue. That stasis, not the biggest stasis, but 2 tanks is a lot. Thing is though, this isn't many Protoss units, and now the Arbiter's gonna go down. Slight overextension there from BoA, loses the shuttle as well. That was massive though, losing the Arbiter, because really if you start banking up these Arbiters, that's how you prevent Terran from ever coming back. He doesn't even have another Arbiter queued. What?
Yeah, I think we saw that BoA's gas starved. I only saw 90 gas for him, so he's just pumping out, I guess, a bunch of goons and keeping his gas really low. Remember, also the vulture harassment into the main may have reset his probes, and maybe they're not mining the gas there potentially. I don't know exactly what the issue. Okay, now the Arbiter started. That's why he is so gas starved. But yeah, that was a bit of an overextension. I really thought for sure BoA would just be content with just sitting with map control and banking energy.
I know, that was a straight up throw. Like, all of a sudden Terra doesn't seem so far behind. Like, really from that situation, there should be no coming back as Terran, because Protoss is just there making a second Arbiter. All of a sudden they have 2 to 3 stasis to work with. Next time you push out, you don't have vessels, you don't have upgrades. Even if you get your third base going, like, it doesn't matter, because you don't have those crucial components. Meanwhile, Protoss can get closer to max with the 2 Arbiters and then even a third Arbiter coming. But now all of a sudden, because the 1 Arbiter went down, and because the second Arbiter just wasn't building for no reason really, Terran bought himself a lot of time.
Definitely did. And top right, I think, might be getting denied by a single vulture. It looks like there's going to be a vulture run by into the top middle. I didn't see any okay, there are cannons. Okay, so minimal losses. Well, about as few losses as you're going to take. He ends up losing 6 or 7 probes. So nicely done from Terra, wiping out half.
No, you got the probe!
He's going to lose all of the probes.
Well, BoA still has some supply to work with, but oh man, this is looking really rough for him. I don't know. Like, I actually think Protoss is in a losing position now. It's hard to say, because again, Terran does not have upgrades going, does not have vessel going, does not have the factory count. But BoA just took so much damage to his mining, and it takes a while to rebuild those probes. I mean, yeah, he does have triple nexus, obviously, but the economic damage is huge, and now Terra is going to take his own third base. I mean, I don't know. Clearly, no player is significantly ahead here, but I feel like there's a clear path to Terran victory where it really shouldn't have been. There really shouldn't have been.
Well, the big thing that I noticed is that Terra did start +2, and what Protoss didn't do is I don't think Protoss even has +1 right now. So he's behind in upgrades. You really want to match the weapon upgrade if you can for Protoss. And for him to be down 1 upgrade, he may be down 2 upgrades pretty soon. That's going to be a feels bad moment. I also didn't get to see how many Arbiters he has. I imagine he has 1 for sure. But does he have a second or a third one anywhere?
No, it doesn't look like it. I mean, he does. Yeah, there you go. He has double Stargate. That's something. But I mean, it's just something. Like, I don't know. It's so insane. I just don't understand. Like that losing that Arbiter and just not building the second Arbiter is such a massive throw. It's like, imagine going, like, you can't, like, you're going 2 base Arbiter. The build is called 2 base Arbiter. If you don't have Arbiters with that, you're in a pretty rough spot. I mean, he does have 2 Arbiters now. That 1 Arbiter is not going to be enough to defend against this drop. If this Nexus goes down, that'd be really annoying.
I think it's dead because BoA hasn't reacted at all, unless he's going to recall to save it. Oh, well, the cannon might save the day because Terra focus fired the Nexus and isn't paying attention.
More probes going down though at 12 o'clock. The shuttle is coming. Oh my god, that cannon. I can't believe that's so insane. And now this Arbiter could actually have enough DPS to kill the tank before it kills the Nexus. So this drop is going to get denied. And okay, now the situation is clearing up a bit. Still, Protoss is in the lead. The problem is that Protoss does not have a 4th and 5th base. And that is actually a hefty tank count. But Again, the problem Terran has is that Protoss is just building up the Arbiter energy. If he gets an EMP, though, that would be really nice here.
Yeah, eliminate recall potential, and obviously a couple of stasises no longer accessible for BoA. Supplies are still heavily in his favor, though, 180 to 140. However, he's not aggressively taking the map, simply only up one base. Meanwhile, it is 17 minutes in a second, so, oh no, is it going to lose the Arbiter? Two turrets are going to shoot this Arbiter, and it may potentially fall. One more shot. Oh my god, just barely survives.
Yeah, BoA clearly succumbing to nerves here or something. It's just looking a bit shabby playing against Terror here, and really just such a rough spot to be in. It really shouldn't have been. Protoss is getting max now, but it really, in these late game engagements, it's all about the Arbiter count, it's all about the stasis, and he keeps getting EMP'd, keeps losing Arbiters. I like how he has a couple Arbiters here and there against the Vultures. This does force Scan to be used on top of whatever the Vultures are killing, so it can mitigate some of the damage, but it's just so weird. Where are BoA's units to defend against this?
Yeah, now he's reacting, and Zealot's going to come through the bottom side of the map, and this is going to be a denied drop for now. Dropship is low, so it's got to be careful to try and skirt away from this Gunit Arbiter. Meanwhile, on the left side of the map, it looks like BoA's trying to take mid-left, but Terra's creeping up in supply, and just like in the Polypoid game, even though he didn't have the fastest upgrades, he's slowly but surely getting up there. He should be at +2 now. 3 Arbiters are out for BoA, soon to be 4 or 5, and really once you reach 4, that's when Arbiter energy starts to become just insanely effective. So, oh, did he catch another Arbiter?
No. Okay, I wonder. That's so weird.
Must have a
I think that Arbiter was the Arbiter that was chasing the dropship away. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Didn't you know actually that Arbiters are the defense against dropships? I mean, you can just shoot them. So you know, it's a sick game though that we have here, and Terra's gonna have a big army to work with, a lot of tanks. You know, Terran has been kind of low supply this whole game, but that's mostly because he's been making a lot of tanks, and the Vultures are kind of just out and harassing. So it's really indicative that he's gonna have a massive amount, like just a much more cost-efficient army composition, and it's gonna still be hard for Protoss to deal with. But definitely BoA has the tools to make it happen, because he has 4 Arbiters now with a bunch of stasis. Terra is mined out, so a bit of a repeat situation from the Polypoid game where Terra has to make something happen with this push. He has to be really strong with this push, or else he's going to run out of steam, because there's no 4th base. He's mining on 1 base now, basically. His main is almost mined out. You can see his bank isn't that high. BoA does have a significant amount of bank. I mean, he's 3k, 1k. He's maxed. He's going to come in here. Where are the Arbiters? He's coming in from both sides, actually cutting off the reinforcements from the bridge. And he's going to probably swoop around and see how good the stasis are. Is he just going to go in here?
I think he's just waiting to mass stasis this small choke, trying to come back to save the main. Why does he only have 1 Arbiter, though? Where are the other Arbiters? Okay, there's the second one coming in.
Recall!
This can be recall in the main, and then he's going to stasis the ramp.
Oh my god! He knows an EMP actually thought he recalled into nothing. What is going on? BoA's army is going to get absolutely smashed. That was the most Bosch attack I've ever seen. And that is going to get totally cleaned up. And now Protoss... oh my god, dude.
These Arbiters are not working out for BoA at all. And now Terror has an even supply count. He's got his mineral only up and running. So it's going to be 4-base Terran versus really 4-base Protoss, because mid-left is about to get crushed. And there's really no angle for BoA to engage, because he lost 2 Arbiters there. I think he has an additional Arbiter somewhere, so there still is potential recall. He's got to have to be careful, but look at how just tiny that blue movement is across the map. It really doesn't look like a sizable army. Maybe it is, though. Arbiters were going to the left side to try and save the day. but I don't think
Where were these arbiters in the last fight, Nyokin? Like,
yeah, that's what I was saying.
He could have just taken the fight with a bunch of stasis and probably won, and now BoA just looks really desperate to make something happen. I mean, he is getting good trades because you can see that Terran's also dwindling down in supply. They're trading. BoA is still getting some decent trades. Storm on top of all of the Terran units. This is exactly what he needed to have happen for him. Storm's just such a sick spell. You got to use it well. And BoA is doing just that with the stasis, with the Storm. He is going to punch through Terror here. And again, Terror, he is having a big problem in that he does not have a really decent fourth base. I mean, he did expand to the mineral only, which is not a base you usually see taken in this situation. It doesn't have that many mineral patches. Again, being a mineral only, it's 6 mineral patches. So not the biggest economy you could ask for, but that is going to fuel the Terran war machine for a while longer. But I feel like BoA might actually just have enough. You can see again Terror dipping down to that 130 supply range where Terran really just isn't that strong, and BoA is still maintaining a healthy supply lead. He still has a couple arbiters in Storm. The Storms are on point. I don't know, man. It looks like Terror is running out of steam.
Yeah, Terror just barely not able to get his reinforcements in position. He's going to lose all of these tanks. Maybe he'll be able to wipe out all the goons, but he lost so many tanks there that it's going to take him a long time to rebuild. But as I mentioned that, he's got 2,000 gas. So if he can get his mineral econ going, he will be able to rebuild it eventually. These 2 tanks might also fall. Also, the Arbiter's very expensive though, so you don't want to lose that, and it looks like that's going to fall. But I'm surprised BoA ended up managing to hold mid left, and now here comes another attack into the middle only. Instead, he is going to back off. I noticed there's no observer there, and BoA has bottom left, and I don't think any probes are actually mining that.
Well, he does have bottom left, but there's no way I mean, if he ever gets probes across the map to bottom left, that would be hilarious. That would be really kind of tragic for the Terran player, honestly. Because just because of how Terror has situated himself, it's gonna be really hard to saturate that bottom left. But here comes BoA with a bunch of stasis, 3 arbiters. Stasis is his own arbiter before that arbiter can get a stasis off. Is it really gonna matter though? I mean, that is still a couple of Terran units in the back there. Finally, the Protoss are actually charging into battle and engaging the enemy. And now the Dragoon Zealots are going to overwhelm the remnants of the Terran forces that have not been frozen. But yeah, I mean, that's gonna be it, man. There's more Protoss coming in here. Terror has to somehow save these stasis units, but I just don't think he's gonna have enough units from his main base.
Yeah, he can. BoA can just sit on this ledge, deny reinforcements while also killing the mineral line. So this is just going to be Terror eventually tapping out. You can see these were staggered stasis also, and that stasis was delayed because the Arbiter finally came out of stasis itself, and it was just a complete whiff. Meanwhile, Vultures are not going to be enough to deal with these Dragoons. 2 tanks in the back are dealing a lot of damage, but 4 Arbiters can deal a decent chunk of damage by themselves. GG coming in from Terror. And BoA's going to be up 2-1 in the series.
Yep, going up to match point, and that was the bonkers game, and like, I don't know what I was watching. There's arbiters, and they died, and that's about it. That's all I remember. Well, I mean, Terror had some sick EMPs that game.
Yeah, clutch EMP to make sure that a recall doesn't get off. If the recall gets off, game's over because he's going to stasis the ramp.
Yeah,
and it's just gonna be GG. A lot of crazy stuff going on in the game. Remember the DT drop right as Terror scanned, thought he was dead. Right there, he manages to save that. Then the move out into the Arbiter. I thought Terror was dead there, but then BoA just gives him a gift. I don't know. It was very back and forth. It looked like it could go either way for a while, but unfortunately, a little bit too much for Terror to handle. So now we're going into 4th map, which will be match point for BoA.
How many fingers was that, American?
Let me check. 4. 4 fingers. Yeah, 4. Yeah. Let me see what the next map is going to be. It's going to be your map, your favorite, Demonio Azul, coming up.
It's my favorite?
Yeah, I can tell. Every time it comes up, just how you say it, I can tell it's your favorite.
Demonio Azul, man.
Yeah, like that.
Or like Demonio Azul, like a real European Spanish. Yeah, well, it is a interesting map to say the least. It's blue. I like that about it.
so you must like Overwatch.
Yeah. You know what would be sick, honestly, is well, I know that there's some tile set specific doodads, I think. I'm not sure about this. But wouldn't it be sick if you could just pick your tile set?
I guess.
You know, like,
I haven't thought about it.
Playing Fighting Spirit on the orange tile set, on the desert tile set. Oh wait, we had that.
Well, we have that. It's called Bubbles. Oh, well, there's a new blue map in the ASL Ascension, which is apparently what you're going to be doing next weekend, right? You're going to be taking that tournament down.
Yeah, ascending.
You're ascending.
Well,
didn't you ascend last week? You gave us your Super Saiyan impersonation.
Did I?
Yeah, you're going to do that after you win that tournament?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Just got to dye your hair next time.
Yeah, aren't you going to win that tournament?
I might. Lag might get me. I'm gonna give
I
it
might.
that,
Dude, I'm
give
pretty
that
sure
excuse.
everyone's gonna have to play. Well, anyway, dude, I can't believe you're actually promoting our competitors' tournaments on stream here, and you gotta watch yourself. You know, it is the BSL here, the premier StarCraft non-Korean league, with the goats themselves of non-Korean StarCraft. And by non-Korean, I mean not residing in Korea. Because John Dong is Korean, and we love him. Of course, he has that U.S. flag, but he's actually from Canada. I'm pretty sure he has Canadian citizenship. Residing in the U.S. right now. Working as, well, okay, I'm not trying to dox him. Terror. Oh my god, you need to kick me off this broadcast at some point, man.
Yeah, so we are, I guess, just waiting for the players to get into the game, but it is going to be Demonio Azul coming up. Now, we've talked about how the mains are kind of wide open, and it's very similar to Talcross in that sense. Yet I don't think we've seen a single player abuse that. I don't remember anybody doing it, so that might be an option for Terra this game. I think we are ready now, so let's get into it and see if BoA can close it out 3-1. Okay, Bob Malcolm, if you're in the chat, he needs your energy. In the bottom left, our blue Terran player, it is Terror.
And in the bottom right, in the red Protoss, it is BoA.
Now remember last week we saw Court go for like a gate cannon contain versus BoA PvP. Now of course this is not PvP. However, it makes me wonder if there are some other shenanigans on this map that I don't know about. Remember, Talcross also had that issue where, wasn't it, Protoss could like pylon block you in versus Zerg and go for cannons?
Yeah.
So if Terra goes for gasless, I mean, he could get punished by something. I mean, I don't know because I've never played this map. I'm just kind of like spitballing here. But we'll see if there is anything in particular, for map particular, that BoA may want to pull out.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see here. This map, you know, I would say it's weird. It is nice for BoA's style in that it's going to be virtually impossible for Terran to take a third base. I mean, you can obviously eventually make your way up to a third base as Terran, but it's going to be much harder to play a fast 3-base style like we saw Terra do on the Polypoid map. But at the same time, you know, Terra, he's going to feel fine about doing some aggressive 2-base play on this map. Drops are really good on this map. So I don't know if, you know, Dandy is more of the drop player, I'd say, between the two of them, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that from Terror.
Well, we've got another gasless expand from Terror, and last time, oh, we did see this last game, even though it was a delayed gas. It seems like Terra's opting into the more eco-based build because also Polypoid was gasless. So I'm wondering if John or John Dong here has taken note of it and is coming up with some way to exploit it. Of course, we know that Rally Zealot is very strong versus a gasless expand. We'll see if he is going for that. I don't think so, because I don't see 16 out of 17 supply. So for now, Terror's not going to get punished.
Yep. It is going to be gasless once again. I mean, Terror has favored this opening almost every game. And on Overwatch, though, yeah, well, the probe does come in. It does not get to scout whether or not there's a gas, though, so that's definitely a win for Terror. On Overwatch, he did get punished for this, because the 12 Nexus build definitely gave BoA the edge. I know it's kind of hard to remember that even happened that game, but 12 Nexus is just so strong against gasless. And in my eyes, just watching Terror play, I feel like his default is going, like, I think Terror, he places his racks at the ramp there. His default is to go gasless, and he probably only takes the gas when the probe comes in, if the probe ever comes in. But other than that, it doesn't seem like he likes to go factory expand. So really, against someone who always goes gasless, the bet, and especially here, like Terror actually plays around proxy gates by having the racks inside of his main. So the biggest, like the best build against this is 12 Nexus. So if BoA was gonna 12 Nexus here, 12 Nexus on every map, it would really put him in a nice spot. But I don't think that's something BoA is gonna catch on to without like watching the replays or anything. So,
well, I think that the probe did come in and see that the SCV was building the command center, so he knows what's going on. In response, this was, I think, a 23 Nexus from BoA, but you can see how delayed it is in comparison to Terra's, because Terra's is up and running now. Factory's going to be coming in pretty soon. So that's going to be a second factory, actually. So every game so far that we've seen this, it's been 2 tank production, no vultures or mines. And I wonder if he's going to end up going into a mix-up here and actually get vultures and mines this time. Robo going down, eBay coming in for Terror. Again, he didn't scout very much. So this is everything here is very standard from both sides.
Yeah. This has been Terror's go-to, double factory after expanding. You know, sometimes you can just stick on that one factory, go even into Starport, go into an armory really fast, but Terror has liked to go 2 factory. And Terror doesn't actually get siege mode that often. So if BoA actually, if at all, he hasn't gone siege mode in any of these games early on, except that one game where he 2-facted off the one base. But if BoA actually does a 2-gate follow-up here, where he gets the second gate before his robotics, he can actually put on a lot of pressure. But yeah, it looks like it's just going to be robotics. But actually, the second gate is so fast. And he already has been pumping out gates, or Dragoons only. Oh, I like this from Terror, actually. He is getting siege mode, seeing that BoA is being super aggressive with his Dragoons. So nice adjustment here from Terror.
Yeah, it didn't look like the second factory was blinking either, so I don't think vultures are coming out. I guess he is just making sure that there's no moment where like the bunker doesn't, or he doesn't have minerals and the bunker doesn't repair, because he would just instantly die. Second add-on coming in, so it does look like it is going to be the tanks again, but this time more passive. Back in the main of BoA, I think we saw a second gate go down for him, so everything, as I mentioned, is very standard. Observatories down. I imagine support bay is going to be coming in pretty soon too, but because this is Tau Cross S, like if he wants to defend Reavers, he's going to have to build turrets absolutely everywhere. So I'm a bit worried if a Reaver drop comes in, if Terror will actually have enough defense.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, he does have turrets. He does have the...
Well, he has 1 turret. Yeah,
true. You know, when you do this... The thing is, with this build that Terror is doing, you really would want to get Armory too. Even if you get 2 factories, that's actually what Light's been doing quite a bit. So you can get the you can get 2 factories and still get like a really early armory, and yeah, you'd have Goliaths coming at this point. So, but given what Terra's doing, and he's getting an academy with the second gas, this is looking. I mean, this is 100% going to be a 5-fact.
Oh, you're already calling it. It's going to be a 5 fact. It looks like it could be because
I mean,
the
he's
turrets
getting an
are going
academy.
up.
He doesn't even have an armory. There's nothing. He's mining. Okay, now he's getting an armory. Well, this armory is so late, man.
Yeah, 645 armory, not ideal. However, it would line up probably perfectly with a 5 fact plus 1 timing. So that might be what he's opting into. Couple zealots are already out, so Reaver drop is going to be coming in pretty soon. Oh, he's already loaded it up. Meanwhile, top middle is being taken. You notice that the nat gas not up and running for BoA, so if he wants to go into heavy tech, he's going to need to start taking it pretty soon. But everything so far looks like it's going to most likely just be Gateway Man again.
Yeah, and this is going to be a 5 factory, but the factories are a bit late, I would say. He had to make a lot of tanks early on. We're already up at 5 tanks, and well, I mean, this is okay. And they are going to finish before the 4 gates are finished from BoA, so definitely Terra's going to have a nice timing here. He needs to start upgrading from his machine shops. And, you know, once you start pumping out the vultures, this is a premature move out timing, though. Somehow he knew that Protoss was not outside of the base, because these units would just insta-die.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised that he moved out like that. And we know that I don't think he scanned, right? Like, if he did, he just barely got his comstats up in time. The comstat or the scan goes off into the main of BoA. He sees the Citadel timing. This is a 7:45 Citadel. It's kind of late, honestly, but it's going to work out fine for what BoA is seeing. Reaver drop. Is he going to try and bomb these tanks? It looks like he is. They're all clumped up, so it would be a pretty smart move. Oh my gosh, all of the tanks are clumped up. That's a massive hit. But he loses the Reaver and the shuttle, but is it enough?
This is kind of a terrible fight from BoA. Somehow the unit's not really getting damaged, but finally they are. I mean, honestly, Terran should lose on the spot there. Like, on the spot they should lose, but that actually went surprisingly well for Terror somehow. But really, losing tanks in this situation is terrible. He lost 3 tanks. Armory's not spinning. This is as all-in as it gets for Terran. But really, behind this, I mean, there's only 4 gates. There's no Reaver anymore. It died. If there has to be a Reaver in the shuttle, or else I think BoA's dead.
I don't think there is a Reaver, and Terra scanned the Citadel timing, so he knows there's no speed. He doesn't have to worry about tons and tons of Zealots getting on top of his tanks anytime soon. Zealot Bomb could be dicey, but look at the lack of goons. I think that Terra just, if he sent a couple more SCVs and just put like a pylon wall, you just can't engage this.
Well, it looks like, yeah, I think Protoss is just dead.
I also think Protoss might just die here. The slow Zealots are moving into mines, but...
Oh, Zealot speed finishes though. Sick timing there. And the Reaver is out, so this Reaver has to do God's work. It can't die in the shuttle. It doesn't. And actually, it's going to be so close. This Reaver does not quite do enough damage though. But he does clean up a lot of the tanks. But behind this, there's only 4 gates, and really, I don't know. I mean, it looks like, well, there's 5 gates, but
look at the supply.
Units, yeah.
80 to 50 supply. Main and natural pro line are getting cleared out, and that's going to be Terror tying up the series 2-2. Reaver comes out, but there's no way to save the natural. Also, there was a Ultra at top right. Sure, it's going to take a very long time to actually kill top right. Yep. However, that does allow for vultures to get into that base too, and once that mineral line gets wiped out, really it's just gonna be 1 based Protoss versus 2 based Terran that has an unstoppable army at the entrance to your base.
Yeah, and that's yeah, I mean, what can you say? The gates are added here for BoA, but it's gonna be a little bit too late here, too little too late. And Terror, I mean, he did open up that pylon wall, but hasn't noticed quite yet. These vultures are kind of running around. Soon enough, though, okay, that was actually not even tight there. So now this base is not mining. The natural's dead. Protoss is down to 50 supply and totally contained in the main. So, yeah, it's just a matter of time until the Protoss player GG's. BoA, of course, probably thinking a bit about the game. He's going to try one last hurrah with this round of Zealots in conjunction with the shuttle. Gonna get one unload there, but just not enough Protoss units, and that's going to be it for game number 4. Terror wins and ties it up 2-2.
Yeah, well, Terror ties it up 2-2, and now we're gonna have the decider match between these two titans of BSL. BoA, remember, in round of 24 got the best of Terror. In BSL 10 or round of 24, Terror got the best of BoA. In BSL 10, BoA got the best of Terror. So now this is like a best of 3 for them. Who's gonna be the better player moving on into the round of 4? And I have to say, BoA's unit control and stuff seems off. You know, remember last season was his first, was it his first season? Or was it BSL9? Yeah, it kind of seemed off too, and it seems like nothing has really changed that much.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think BoA plays that much, to be honest with you. I know he's like complaining about being rusty and stuff. I just don't think he plays that much. But that being said, he does kind of maintain a consistently strong form here. But Terror definitely looking strong. That game though, it was really weird because honestly, Terran should have just I don't understand how poorly that first engagement went for BoA. Like, the Reaver was on top of all the tanks. I mean, that was a good focus fire from BoA, from Terror rather, because most likely the unsieged tanks instantly shot the Reaver. But just the follow-up, like Goons and Zealots, didn't quite do the job. And, you know, honestly, that 5-fact timing hits at a kind of nasty time for Protoss, because even, like, BoA was setting himself up into that 3-base situation with the bust, right? Like, he had Citadel and he was going up to 6-7 gate. But because he likes to go for Shuttle Reaver plus the shuttle speed, when 5 factories finished, he wasn't even on 4 gate. He wasn't even on, and he was nowhere near like 5, 6, 7 gate. So despite the fact that that early engagement like basically still went good for Protoss because he traded for like 3 or 4 tanks, he just had nothing behind it.
Yeah, the econ had not kicked in just yet, and as you mentioned, the gate count was very low. Also, Citadel was a bit delayed, so speed didn't kick in for a long time.
That being said, though, Nye, like, he could just use the shuttle to defend. Like, you don't need to just Mongo in like that. Just drop the Reaver down in front of the Terran army and shoot it as it comes out, right?
Well, you don't have to. However, I am pretty sure both of us would agree if we're in his position and we see a guy sitting with 7 tanks all clumped together, we're going on it, right? Like, there's no doubt in my mind. As soon as I see that, I'm like, okay, this guy must want to lose to put his tanks set up like that. So can't blame him for that move. Now, this is going to be the final map, and somehow this map made it through again. It's going to be Gold Rush, and you know that this is Terror's pick. So let's see if Terror can seal the deal, or is it BoA repping Canada that's going to make it out to the round of 4?
Prepare for battle.
All right, in the bottom right, we have our red Peruvian Terran. It is Terror.
And in the middle left, it is BoA in that blue Protoss. Looks like BoA's been getting blue a lot, eh? I feel like Terra's gone red all games.
I'm pretty sure he got magenta all games also.
Wait. No, never mind. Last game he was blue. I'm an idiot.
Well, I feel like we've seen these particular spawns every single time we've seen Gold Rush, right? We saw Casper, was it versus DeWalt, these spawns. We saw Dandy versus Terror, these spawns.
Yeah, it's rigged.
It is rigged.
Heard it here first.
And you mentioned that we've seen gasless from Terror every single time. I wonder if we're going to see it again. You can see that he's setting it
on this map. You want to know something?
Yeah.
I think BoA's...
Yeah.
Well, actually, never mind. This was an ASL map, so actually, I think BoA might actually have deceptively more experience than you would anticipate on this map.
Yeah, that is true, and this map is similar to Outsider. So if BoA has been a top player for a long time, you know, Outsider at one point was a Courage map, was in OSL and those types of Star Leagues. So he may have a lot of experience on similar types of maps. So far, everything looks identical. No gas for Terror.
Yeah.
BoA's not going for that Eclipse style build, which was the gas steal, into 3 Zealots into Nexus. Everything just looks very standard, and luckily for Terror, he's going to scout him first.
Yeah, this is what you want to see. Because even on this map, you could actually punish 12 Nexus even with the 1 rack. So in this situation, I do like gasless. Though if Terror scouts, again, I mean, BoA doesn't really whip out the 12 Nexus too often. We only saw it once this series. But the 12 Nexus would be incredible read against Terror. This game, it wouldn't have worked out, though, which is the funny part, because getting scouted first, you don't need a factory to punish that on these rush distances. So pretty lucky break here for both players, honestly. BoA that he didn't go for the 12 Nexus, and Terror that he first scouted. And now Terror, because he gets to see the gate, the thing that I kind of dislike here from Terror is that he first scouts Protoss, but still builds the Marine and the depot before his command center. I mean, there's just no reason to do that. You can just put down the command center right away and just have a better economy. But that being said, it's not going to affect the game too terribly much.
Well, again, unfortunately, BoA's going to get a last scout off, and he's not going to know what the opener is from Terror. Since we've seen it every single time being gasless, maybe he can just assume that it's going to be gasless. Again, bunkers going down at the entrance. Only 1 Marine for now.
Oh my god, he doesn't even poke in though. He doesn't know what this is.
Yeah, he needs to poke in. This is one of the things that I hate about hate watching people do, is they scout, but they don't scout. It's like, well, What did you really see then? So he's in the dark again, and versus someone like Terror, we know he's got potential for this to be even 10 Marines behind it, right? We saw that happen on Eclipse. So a bit of a misplay right there.
That's so weird, man. That's like if you, I don't know, that's just so bad, really. I mean, it might not amount to anything, but it might amount to everything. You know, like this type of missed scouting, because really all BoA can tell from this is that there's a bunch of Marines in the bunker. Like this can like he could have this many Marines going factory expand and going racks expand, and now he's gonna. I don't even know. There's 3 Marines in the bunker, so that might actually dissuade him from even checking the natural with that Dragoon. And now all of a sudden, it looks like BoA hasn't even confirmed that there's a natural. Like, luckily for him, there is. But this could have easily been a repeat from the Eclipse game where Terror's just running out of his base with a bunch of stuff. But now the problem is he doesn't actually. Well, okay, you know, on the bright side, that looked like 3 factories for a second.
That's what I thought also.
That's not a build. But on the bright side now, again, he can piece together that this is a Rax expand just from the missing tank. And it's not like whether at this point, whether it's a Rax expand or not, it's not going to change his build too terribly much, if at all. So this scouting from BoA this game was absolutely horrendous, but it's not going to punish him. It doesn't seem like.
Well, we'll see if he goes Reaver again, because it seems like all day long, really, the Reaver hasn't done much work for him. Even the game that it got in on Polypoid, it got surrounded by turrets and ended up falling. Okay, it's Observatory, and we've seen that every single game so far. He's opened Robo, he's gone into Observatory first, and then just a later Reaver follow-up. 4 goons at the front is going to punish this bunker.
Only 3 SCVs repairing it!
And he needs to pull another one, and he does pull it in time. Now, we didn't see if the siege mode was spinning, but the first tank is out. Okay, that is going to be siege mode, I imagine. And he will push this back. Well, he might. Okay. It's always the worst feeling to lose when you lose because you didn't repair your bunker.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, dude. That would be so like heartbreaking in game 5 especially.
Now this is cute. That's gonna be hidden tech up there, and most likely it's gonna be support base, so it's not gonna be anything crazy. But I do like that move. More Protoss players need to hide their tech, because as a Terran player, when I scan, like a lot of the times, like I scan Citadel and then like their Templar Archive is right there, and the Forge is right there, and Stargate's right there. I'm like, okay, well I know what this is because everything's right there. If you hide it, it's a little more deceptive. So I like that this support bay is up on the high ground, and it's going to leave Terror guessing. He's building a lot of turrets preemptively. It's going to be 4 turrets already, and sometimes when you see a turret ring like this, this can already give away your build. It's usually factory timing, but we see that's almost a completed command center.
Yeah, this command center is way too early, man. I mean, he's got 2 tanks, bro.
I know. I mean, SCVs are great, but you got to be able to use them effectively.
Listen, what?
Wow, BoA backed off, so he's gonna get this.
Dude, this is crazy, man. Like, if Terran gets away with this, that would be absolute murder. There's no way he does. There's no way. Like, BoA's just gonna do this standard attack. You know what's nice is that he can have a couple tanks on the high ground, though. So, I mean, considering how poorly, I mean, honestly, BoA's engagements have gone not ideally, let's say, in this series. So maybe something, like, maybe Terra can pull something out of the bag here, but, like, honestly, dude, this is 4 tanks. Like,
Bunker's not in time. Bunker might barely, okay, it's gonna barely be in time. If turret gets up, though, I don't think you can break this.
There's a Reaver there, though.
Yeah, there's a Reaver. It's tank bunker turret. You can't, BoA can't bust this, so Terra's gonna get away with one of the greediest openers you can really ask for. The only thing that could be greedier is if we check his main and there's an armory already spinning.
Dude, imagine that actually. Well, I mean, it's fine because you can go through the small choke, but well, he gets away with this for now. Yeah, no, it looks like he's actually gonna be safe. Maybe this is actually genius from Terra. He realizes that on this map, it's actually quite easy to defend this mineral only, given the. Yeah, okay, I kind of like this. Okay, take this back. This is good from Terra. This shows some solid preparation on this map because. I'm struggling to think of a solid Protoss timing that could reliably bust this every time. Looks like, because look, he could even use the ledge on the high ground there, but the thing is, the double shuttle might actually be a problem here.
Oh, and the turrets are slightly out of position, gonna get into the main of Terror. Turret's gonna fall down.
Oh, that's massive.
All the tanks are out of position, so this Reaver should deal a lot of damage. Oh, the repair is great.
Well, he's killing a lot of SCVs, and I'm actually surprised. Okay, there you go. He's actually targeting the tank now, because really this Reaver can just kill the tank straight up. A lot of turrets getting built behind this. Oh my god, that was so
we gotta
close.
leave, man.
Oh, he's just committing into the base. We saw this before.
No!
There's just random turrets all over the place. That Reaver, though, it did kill a lot of SCVs. It did cause a lot of mining damage there. So, you know, it looked pretty bad there for Protoss, but to be honest, that was a decent trade. You know, I think it killed probably 10 SCVs, close to, and disrupted mining for a really long time. So it was worth it, but it's surprising because BoA has this tendency where, you know, you and I, Iokin, were looking at this and we're just thinking, okay, just exit the main now. But instead he goes deeper in, and Terror, for some reason, he's got turrets building all over the main. He's like, you know what, I'm just going to plop down 10 turrets while you're in my main. And it just counters that decision to commit there. So.
He actually has so many turrets. And when he's going for a timing, it's going to damper his
build
quite a bit.
Terror.
Yeah, there's no way that you can get through this. So many depots sitting in the front. I don't even know if Terror can get units out of his base with this depot wall. It doesn't look like he can. But he's got 6 fact production going. He's gonna, I think that is even 8 fact. Yeah, +1 weapon is not upgrading, and it is not completed because that was a very late armory. So a bit of a misstep there.
Yeah, but the thing is, okay, we'll see here. Now I'm curious to see, how does this fast third base translate for Terran, because really it looks like the only build that fast 3 base like this translates into is something like a 1-1 push with 9 factories, skipping starport. He's not mining gas from his natural, so he's just gonna make a bunch of vultures. I think, does he only have 1 armor? Does he have +1 yet? He has +1.
No,
right?
he's not. He wasn't even upgrading +1. It's not. I mean, okay, it might have just started, but it's nowhere near done.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be another YOLO attack, because if this doesn't work, Terran's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, double add-on, despite not having the second gas, he's able to pump out a lot of tanks. It looks like he's got about 10. Vultures setting up mines in the center of the map, so if these Dragoons and Zealots retreat, they may be in for death. And BoA has 5 bases. I thought he only had 4, so he's got his econ
overexpanding, man.
Well, he's got like 10 gates, but he doesn't have the tech. He just now finished his Templar archive, I think. Okay, there's a Templar. So he does have some Templars, but yeah, this might have been an overextension taking this many bases.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, this is the danger zone. He may lose this entire army backing off.
No, he knew. I think he actually knew. Oh, but that's gonna hit. Okay, it could be worse, but this push from Terra is gonna be really scary, but it is gonna be a one-punch man type of scenario. Like, he has to basically knock out Terra with this attack because he has no infrastructure behind this, and you know, it looks nice to have that many factories. It looks like look at that macro. It's huge, but when you have that many factories this early on, you can just never really build a bank to put down another command center or get your upgrades going. Although, that being said, it looks like Terra is floating some resources. But yeah, quickly spinning that down. He's taking his time, though.
Well, he wants to make sure he takes a favorable engagement, of course. And he doesn't have the upgrades to rely on. He can't just willy-nilly move across the map and rely on his +3 upgrades. He's at +0, so he has to be very careful. Turret pushing across the map.
Those probes are going to get picked off? No, they're not.
But more Vultures are trying to get some kills. He finds another Templar, but this is a lot of Vultures to be using to pick off simply just one Templar and maybe a couple Zealots.
Yeah, these trades are actually not that great for Terra because, you know, I mean, it makes sense because he's building tanks behind this, but the reality is he's going to be pushing with what 1-0 barely, if that. Like, this army. Yeah, okay, he is gonna have 1-0, but 1-0 really, it doesn't matter. It's not that big of an it's not very important. So this army is not as strong as it. I mean, it's incredibly strong. But is it? Yeah, I mean, we're 13 minutes and we're not maxed. Like,
well, I think BoA's in trouble because the mines are set up really nicely. There's turrets, and every single time we've seen this type of attack, it hasn't gone favorably for BoA. Now this time, of course, as I mentioned, there's no upgrades, so that's a lot of tanks that are actually not in the fight, so let's see how this goes.
Yeah, Zealot's pouring in. The shuttles are on top of everything as well. Those were some good connections for Terra. Actually, he's cleaning this up. The Dragoons are just chilling up in the north sector, not doing anything. They do trade supply for supply, though. Kind of still similar in that regard, but honestly not the best fight there from BoA. A lot of his units just weren't even in the fight. Here come more Vultures and more tanks. The storms are going to be nasty, though, all over the place, blanketing a bunch of the tanks, but the thing is, most of these tanks,
my gosh,
and they don't have that good upgrades, so they're not actually doing damage to the Protoss army, and BoA's just completely smacking this down.
Yeah, despite not using any of his goons in the initial fight, he still manages to push it back with a blanket of storms. Vultures are trying to save the day, rallying in, but now there's a 40 supply swing in favor of BoA. He needs to save these Templars, and he does. So that's nicely done. And remember, we thought he overextended on 5 bases, but now he has 5 bases up and running. He's got all of his tech. He just swamped that initial attack. He's going to come in again for another attack. Arbiter is being built too. So this isn't even his final form. Looks like Turret might be able to take out the shuttles. And now maybe the goons will get cleaned up. But, oh well, now BoA's overextending quite a bit. And that was a big loss for him.
Yeah, he unloaded a bunch of Templar, but they actually didn't have any Storm. A couple tanks went down there, but overall, still a good trade for Terra. But the reality is, he needs better trades because Terra's losing a lot of units, and Protoss can remax much faster than Terran can in this situation. And these Terran units, they're just not that strong. They're not upgraded. Like 1-0, it's not
he
even
has armor. Does he have armor?
What?
Oh my god, he got armor instead of weapon. I guess he figured that +1 weapon was already done, so instead he only has armor. I mean, at least it nullifies the weapon damage of the Protoss, but yeah, not exactly what you want to see.
That's so unfortunate, Iokin. You're totally right. I think maybe he thinks he has +1. If he had 1-1 in this situation, you know, it would be way different, but 1 armor does just nothing for you. That's unfortunate, but That being said, he has taken up position in range of this Nexus. Again, BoA was taking a couple of unfavorable trades, and now the production, the Vultures are starting to be a real nuisance for the Protoss player. The shuttle drops are nice though, picks off that one tank that's in range of the Nexus, so buys himself more time to just make more units. There aren't any observers, and really, I mean, BoA's just been making shuttles nonstop, and you can see he has no way of killing these mines, which is massive. It's really, really annoying for Protoss to deal with this type of push if they can't clear the mines. If it's just one tank covering the mines, I mean, you can just have the Dragoons sit there and hit the mines and you don't really care, but if you start running into the minefield, you lose so many units. Arbiter's finally out. Another shuttle, still no observer. And this Arbiter can't die, dude!
He doesn't notice. Luckily, the turret didn't help kill that Arbiter. Otherwise, it may have ended up falling. Science Facility has just now gotten to 50% complete, so +2 weapon still hasn't started for TerrOr. 17 minutes into the game, still no +2 weapon even started. Is just not something you see very often these days. But look at the supply, still very close, 170 to 150. And as you mentioned, the real issue is no observers. He just can't ever engage. He has to wait for an observer. Finally, one comes out. Look how many mines there are.
Yeah, the mines. Well, finally, the observer comes out, like you said. And I opened a couple more shuttles. I really would like to just see BoA just forget about making shuttles for a bit. Get that observer count up. He really desperately needs more vision, but finally, with this observer, you can see he can finally clear out a path for his army to move in. And really, a lot of TerrOr's mines were concentrated on one sector, and now TerrOr's trying to contest this with a couple of his tanks, but really his army isn't quite big enough to move out and spread out like this, and BoA is going to pounce on that opportunity. He's going to push in with just all the units. A stasis on 2 tanks, not the best of stasis you could ask for, but the rest of the army is engaging here. There's not enough tanks really to be outputting enough damage onto these goons, so these goons are going to clean up all the Vultures. You can see they're not dying. None of them are dying. They've been fighting forever, just shooting their plasma balls. Okay, finally they start turning into blue goo. But not after killing a bunch of Vultures. That's a good trade, though, for TerrOr. He kept a lot of his tanks alive. And, man, this game is back and forth. Actually, BoA is expanding the bottom left as well. TerrOr has a 4th base now. And despite the fact that TerrOr has no upgrades, I don't know. I'm starting to like his position a bit more.
Yeah, I also like his position. Mid-right also up and running for him. So that's going to be a 3rd gas for him. Remember, the 3rd base for him, that's a mineral only, so he hasn't had access to that for a long time. Meanwhile, the majority of BoA's bases are going to start mining out soon. Main and Nat should be mined out basically by now. Top left is about halfway gone. Looks like there's no defense, so this Vulture attack to top left may actually tilt BoA into going into a counterattack. But with so many mines laid, I don't think that's going to be a successful route for him. Oh, he didn't manage to take out the eggs, so he really can't even save this base.
Oh no, this is the type of move that's game ending here. This base is gonzo, and now he's going to be on 2 base mining. I mean, he is expanding the bottom left. Oh my god, that's insanely unfortunate here. I mean, BoA should have been more aware of that possible path, I suppose. So, a huge blunder by him, and now, really, I mean, TerrOr's doing a fantastic job to be able to expand here. He's laying mines all over the place. TerrOr's playing a phenomenal game, getting the harassment going, and 5th base as well to the bottom left after having secured the section of the map with turret and tanks. So really, TerrOr, I mean, he's getting a chokehold onto this game. He's playing a very beautiful game. The only way for BoA to get back into this one would be to get into some recalls or something, really abuse his arbiters. There's still no vessels out onto the map, or take a decisive fight. You know, it's not like Terran can be at... TerrOr can't be at all places of the map at the same time. You know, this... So, maybe if you...
But mines can. Mines
no,
are
you're right, yeah.
Look how many there are. I think he's going to go for a recall, and I think this is probably his best option. There's not that many turrets. TerrOr saw it, luckily, so he's scrambling to get back into position. Round of Goliaths are going to help also. Maybe recall into this 4th base, but I think he's going to go into the main. Yeah, that's where he's going. There weren't that many mines, but now it looks like he's getting into position. Goliaths popped out, as I said. This is a dead arbiter.
Well, those mines were great
Joel died too.
Yeah, the Storm is going to go off. This is annoying to deal with, but really not. No, it's not. I mean, that's barely any Protoss units. A lot of them got evaporated with the mines. So beautiful defense there from Terror. It's hard to know. Again, BoA, kind of his lack of observers this game really hurting him. You know, kind of going for blind recalls like that is always extremely risky. Terror does notice that there's an expansion on bottom left, but all that's defending this base is a couple of eggs, and really, man, I don't know how BoA is gonna dig himself out of this one, but clock is running out for him.
Yeah, Terror's about to have mid left and also bottom middle, so that's gonna be 6 bases for him. Meanwhile, BoA, well, he's gonna have 5. He's taking the mineral only. It looks like BoA's decided that he needs to do something about bottom left. He's busting through. As you mentioned, tanks can't be everywhere. He can't defend the right side and the left side at the same time. Something's got to give. And he is going to barrel through some of these tanks, but he's going to lose his bottom middle base at the same time. Meanwhile, Terror is reinforcing with a handful of tanks, and he will save it. So look at the supplies dip now. It's 150 only for BoA. Meanwhile, Terror still holding strong, nearly maxed.
Yeah, this is looking really bad for the Protoss player. But hold that thought, though, because that's a lot of Protoss units coming in. They are going to do a lot of damage, and you know, a lot of Terror's units are kind of like bottom left, clearing out that base. And whoa, BoA getting a nice trade. You can see he's still struggling in the supply, but he is going to clear out a lot of these Terran units. He's still mining off of 3 bases. He's got 2 mineral onlys in the top left base. He's going to be able to clear out this expansion as well. It's still a really dicey position for Protoss, obviously, but he has made some progress.
He needs to save those SCVs. There's like 20 SCVs at that base. That's the majority of his SCVs even. He needs to transfer them to bottom middle. Supplies still say it's heavily in favor of Terror, though. But if you think about those units at top left, those are 7 vultures that are just sitting there. So even though it says 150 to 129, it's pretty much even 130 versus 130.
Oh, he hasn't even killed the command center. He's just going to go through. BoA feels like this is very desperate, and maybe it's the right decision. He has so many units, and there's not that many tanks there. He does have the turrets kind of soaking up a lot of the damage. 2-1 is finished for Terran. I wonder what the Protoss upgrades are, but that's going to be probably enough units to attack upgrades for the Protoss, so he can push through these units comfortably well. More Protoss units funneling through the middle of the map. The command center bottom left went down. Another Arbiter coming in. There's only 1 tank left. If BoA can somehow make his way to mid-left here, a couple more tanks and turrets. So that's going to deter him. The mines can't connect. Oh my god, this is so close. And now Terror, he's going to reroute a couple of his vultures at the 12 o'clock. Oh my god, if these vultures find the mineral only at top right, that would be huge for Terror. And BoA lost a lot. I mean, he had a sick attack, but now he didn't end Terror. Terror's mining from that mid-right base and from bottom left.
And of course he finds the base right before the cannon finishes. That's a heartbreaker for BoA. At least he's going to save the probes, but I thought that was a base that he was going to be able to maintain for quite a while. Meanwhile, now we have a massive lead for Terror, up 40 supply. Multiple vessels are out. 2-1 has kicked in. Looks like that command center ended up dying. However, this nexus at mid-left might be breached pretty soon, and also the vultures can backstab top middle at some point. Oh, he EMPs the Arbiter also.
That's massive, but still Terror is pushing out with, I mean, he has a supply lead. I wonder how much of that is in workers. A lot of these units from BoA are out of position, though. BoA could make some magic happen with some storms and stasis, but he has to act fast, because this nexus, if it goes down, which it will, it's going to be really bad for Protoss. He does have a lot of arbiters, though.
I don't think he can hold this base. He's just got to give it up. He has 4 arbiters, but what's the energy on all of them? Also, the
they're
units
cloaked up another EMP 2 arbiters, and now that's going to be, I mean, so much dead supply. These arbiters just aren't contributing anything, and they're so low energy, no stasis to work with, despite having 4 arbiters, and there's not going to be stasis for at least another 30 seconds, and then it's just going to be 1. A shuttle is going to come down. The storm drop is going to be huge, though, in keeping the Terran economy in check. If Terra can't mine from this base, that's a victory for BoA, that's for sure. But dude, this game's all over the place. It's back and forth. Now, because Terra is only mining off of 1 base, he is sending a bunch of vultures to defend this, but BoA has exposed a critical weakness here in Terra's position. It's that he can maybe shuttle drop this over and over, but Terra rather, smartly is building turrets. He is mining up for the subsequent drops. Looks like there's another shuttle heading down there. One Arbiter getting into position to recall. I mean, Terra is not quite out of the woods yet. He's definitely in a winning spot, but can he convert it into a victory?
Oh, another shuttle might fall to a turret. It just has one, what does that say, 7 health left or something like that? Luckily, that does not die. Meanwhile, it looks like those Arbiters are slowly but surely rebuilding the energy, so Terra does need to be careful because there are four Arbiters out for our Protoss players. Zealot Bomb or Zealot Drop, I mean, not going to find success really. Turret Ring now is going to deny all future attacks here unless it's going to be a committed attack like a recall. Tanks moving around the right side but instantly spotted. Goons are moving into position, but so are Vultures. You can see that the tanks are trying to get onto the high ground.
Yeah, these tanks get into position. That would be just so difficult for Protoss. I mean, the thing is, look, BoA is moving his entire army here. So if Terra has the APM, he can maybe start doing a push across the middle of the map. Not sure if he's going to feel confident enough to do that because his whole game plan this game has been to just slow push the middle of the map with turrets and tanks and everything. This is such a good trade, though, for Terra, and so many Protoss units going down before they can kill the tanks, and that one tank actually killed a bunch of probes as well. No movement yet in the middle of the map, so Terra did not use that opportunity to, well, he is taking the space though. Yeah, I don't know, it looks like Protoss is kind of running out of options here. The only thing I can see happening, and maybe a recall, maybe a bunch of stasis winning him the game, but his supply is so low. Like, just what do you do here as Protoss?
Well, here comes that Arbiter. Okay, for a second I thought it had no energy, and that's not a good recall. Hits lands on top of 2 mines. Luckily, there's only Vultures.
Oh, the shuttle drop, though.
That's nice. 4 Goons and 4 Storms. Oh my gosh, he just lost all of his SCVs.
Yeah, and Terra, I can only imagine that mid-right is dangerously close to mining out, but he is secure. No, it's not. Okay, never mind. He's still healthy there, so he is gonna have one base to work with for a really long time. Look at this Terran army, and you know, honestly, Terra's supply isn't looking too great, but that's because I think he only has 40 SCVs or something. So really, that's like a close to 100 supply in units.
No, please, BoA, just one time. Another Arbiter. It dies. And this army from Terra, I think, is just unstoppable. BoA killed so many SCVs. As you mentioned, I think Terran's at like 30 SCVs. But that just means this army is massive.
Yeah.
This is going to be the last attack. Because BoA's not mining either. It's just top middle, and that's it.
Yeah, one last hurrah. I mean, the supplies are close, though, so storms do go down. There's a lot of Arbiters, more Protoss units coming in. Where are the Arbiters? They're not there.
Terran reinforcements.
Oh, he actually recalled bottom left, I think. The storms are huge onto a lot of the tanks, so that's going to be really good for BoA, but a lot of his army is just stranded bottom left. I think he went for a recall while... Oh, no, that's the original attack, okay. Where are his Arbiters? Because I feel like he had way more Arbiters, but... Yeah,
55 to 110.
That's all he can muster, and Terror, my god, he's done it.
He has done it in a 30-minute game versus BoA. Again, one of the craziest games we've seen in BSL, and again, on Gold Rush. Stormtroop's fantastic, but you gotta have something to actually kill this guy's army, BoA.
Well,
there's too much.
Yeah,
there's no money. Look at the minerals for BoA. It goes up so slowly, and those are basically his last 200 minerals that just got spent. 28 remaining. That's it.
Terra's done it.
Barely, by the skin of his teeth, he is going to make it out with a 3-2 victory over BoA.
What a sick game this was. GG. Damn, Terror. With the win there. Congrats to him. That was sick. Sick series. Yeah. No words, man.
Yeah, we were both skeptical of the fast command center in the last game, but didn't get punished. Yet still, BoA was able to get 5 bases and hold off the attack. It was really impressive from both sides. And then once the game got really nuts, it just came down to who had better trades, and it seemed like all game long, Terror had the better trades. Storms were great at the end, but unfortunately, not enough to salvage the game, and BoA is going to be knocked out in the round of 8.
Yeah, well, sick performance there by both players. That was definitely an excellent series between the two. Really, 3-2 doesn't get much closer to that. I mean, the last game was so back and forth. Both players playing the, absolutely incredible. And yeah, Terror is going to make it through. So that is going to be Terror versus Avilov in the next round. That's going to be interesting. Definitely an interesting matchup in the semifinals there. And yeah, we're going to have an interview with the players soon here. We're getting that ready for you guys. But yeah, so now I hope you're preparing your questions.
Oh, I am. I always prepare. I'm curious what Terra's thoughts are going to be going into the round of 4, because Avilov kind of seemed to give away what he liked to do, which was the 3-hatch Hydra play. And I think that Terra might execute a little bit better than Koget did, and maybe Avilov will have to come up with something different if he wants to take down Terror.
Yeah, we'll see, man. I mean, that is going to be next week. Today was some sick series, guys. Remember, tomorrow rather, we're gonna have 2 more series for you: Dawid versus Boneth, OIG versus True Touch. That's gonna be absolutely incredible. Can't believe Dawid versus Boneth got drawn in the first round there. That is so funny. That's gonna be a rematch of last season's finals. So definitely don't want to miss that. Today was so sick. I mean, the first series was a 3-1, but could have easily gone to 5 games. This last series was 5 games. We've been live for over 4 hours for just 2 series. So. Okay, well, players are ready for an interview, guys. Get that working. In here?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Is BoA here?
Yeah, I'm here, yeah.
Oh. All right. Well, thank you guys for the interview, and congratulations, Terry. You're going to be moving on into the round of 4 facing Avilov. But talk to me about this series, because, and especially this Gold Rush game, because this Gold Rush game, just like last week in your game versus Dandy, one of the best games we've ever seen in BSL.
Hey, hello guys. Excuse me, I'm a little too tired right now, but I'll try to speak as much as I can. These games have been really crazy for me. I prepare like the RACCC games for all the maps, but I was resting a lot on my macro, but boy, it's pretty good, man. Holy shit.
Well, yeah, definitely. We saw you go Rax expand every game. Were you worried about anything that BoA in that Overwatch game, he whipped out the 12 Nexus, which generally is pretty strong against Rax expand. Were you worried at all for him going 12 Nexus any of the games, or were you just like very confident about the Rax expand style?
Against 12 Nexus, usually I go, if I scout it first, I go with the bunker rush. But it was 2-player map, and Overwatch the ground distance, I think it's pretty long, so I didn't try to go for the bunker rush and just go with the RACCC. Obviously, it was huge economic boost for him.
And that game on Gold Rush, once again, because Naoki and I were watching that, and your third command center was so fast, and then we were like, okay, that seems pretty scary. But really, was that something that you prepared on that map? Because it looked like it was pretty easy for Terran to take that expansion and defend it. You had like 4 tanks, just 4 tanks, but with the bunker and the Sim City, it looked like probably no Protoss timing could break that. So was that something that you prepared in your practice games, or?
Yeah, and not really practice, because I didn't have much practice on Gold Rush specifically, but Wall Rush, the third base looks a lot like Silpit, where you can defend.
Yeah.
It's very very close, so you can defend from the high ground of your main base. So that's why I went for the fast third base. I was trying to go for a +1 timing, but the river really messed with all my timing there in that game.
Yeah, and I guess the last question really to that, because we saw you have there's a point where we saw you have just +1 armor. Did you see that? And were you like, oh my god, my +1 attack never built, or was that like the original intention to go +1 armor?
No, the reader was +1. I just misclicked it.
Yeah.
I even noticed when I misclicked it, but I was like doing so many stuff that I didn't bother to cancel and make the +1 attack.
Yeah. Well, hectic game, BoA. You played some solid games, but came up short. What were you expecting coming into this series?
Well, first of all, congratulations, Terra, for amazing game. I guess, I wasn't having a high expectation, just wanting to enjoy my games, and really didn't have much time to practice, to be honest. So I just hope that I can just try my best and see how far I can go.
So did you catch on at all that that Terra was really prioritizing going for this Rax expand style? Was it something that you were thinking about, or talk to me about that game on Demonio Azul, actually, on that was a game 4 where you saw Terra kind of move out and he had like a clump of tanks, and then you tried to like run your shuttle there, and then somehow all your units died.
Yeah, that was like the huge mistake on me. So I should have just waited, but then I guess I just made a huge mistake there. So I should have. And it's just how it goes, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no turning back, but I mean, yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, the game was very surprised that he went in because I think the observer saw the 5-hack. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I did see that. So yeah. Sometimes I just do that without even thinking. So man.
Yeah. Well, what were I guess what were you guys' favorite games in that series there, Terra, starting with you?
I think the game on Demonio Azul, because I was really, after the third game I was so tilted because of the 12 Nexus into Fast Arbiter that I was trying to calm down, and then when I won that game I just relaxed for the last game.
And BoA, how about you? How did you feel overall? What was the favorite game that you had in this series? Did you feel like there was one game that you played really well, or?
No, I don't think I played any game really well, to be honest. Really disappointed with my games, but I wish I knew the map a little bit better, especially the Gold Rush. So yeah.
Did you play any game? I was actually curious about this because Gold Rush was an ASL map, so I thought maybe you had played some games on it. But have you played some games in the past on it, or was that?
No, I've only played once, and it was only against a Zero player. So I've never played against a Terran player there. So well, obviously I don't want to make any excuses. So just he played well. That's how we won. So yeah.
Yeah. Well. No, go ahead, American.
No, I was going to say before we wrap up, let's go into Terror. So what are your thoughts of your round of 4 opponent? You're going to be facing Avilov. Do you think this is your season that we're going to see you in the finals of BSL?
Yeah, everyone is saying that, and I also feel that I'm at my best shape right now. So yeah, I'm very confident. Obviously, I'll have to face Avilov, and I feel like my TBC is actually right now my weakest matchup. My TBT and my TBP I've been practicing a lot, but my TBC I think it's a lot of work. So I have I think a week to prepare.
Yeah.
I will check those Koget games just to prepare something.
Well, guys, you definitely gave us a 6 series. I think this was one of the best series that we've had in BSL. In the past couple of seasons for sure. Especially that last game was. I mean, Terry, you've just been giving us sick games last week, or was it last week versus Dandy, or 2 weeks ago? I mean, Yeah, man, Gold Rush is your map, dude. This is gonna be
I feel like it's because other players don't know that there are so many expansions. Like,
yeah. Yeah, and like the back paths, and you did a good job just moving around there. But that was a sick game and sick series, guys. Again, congrats, Terror. It's nice to see you do really well this time around. BoA, of course, we'll see you back here next season for sure. You're always putting up strong games, so definitely, that's how it goes sometimes. But thanks a lot, guys, for the games and for the interview.
Tomorrow to GT, right? So
I think it's Monday.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, Monday,
yeah. Any last words, guys? Maybe to your fans. I guess we'll start with BoA and then we'll finish with Terra. BoA, do you have any shout outs you want to give to anyone?
Well, just thank you for watching, and I hope I can play better next time. And congratulations, Terra, for winning. Hopefully, you make it to the finals. Okay.
Thanks, gracious. Man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and Terra, anything you want to say?
Can I say in English and Spanish?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, first I want to thank everyone that supported me, like all this season BSL on Twitch. Twitch guys are really awesome. It's a really small community on my Twitch that they keep cheering for me, supporting me, and I try to do the best for them. Also for my have a lot of fans in this America also, and they live streaming on Facebook a couple times a week also. Y bueno, en español, gracias a todos por apoyarme y espero llegar hasta la final. Un saludo a todos. Gracias. Thank guys. That's it.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, guys. Much love from us to you for this sick series.
Bye.
And
take care.
Yeah. Congrats again. Good luck in your tournament there. Yeah. Well, that was a series and a half. I guess we're getting back into the into Zoom. Are we back?
I accidentally left. Yeah.
I was gonna say, you just let me. I was alone in there with Zero.
Yeah, so I think that the BoA Terror series was, well, other than the Dandy series last time, was probably my favorite series of the BSL, and BSL just keeps getting better and better. So if you like those games that we saw today, you're definitely going to like the games tomorrow, because you could look at the bottom side of the bracket and say, like, you could pick any two players here and say this is the finals of any BSL, whether it's Dawid versus Boneth, whether it's True Touch versus Oya, True Touch versus Boneth, like literally any two players you could pick and would be the finals. So this is just gonna be an absolutely insane play day tomorrow. We've got tons of Protoss, PvP, ZVP. We're gonna see if True Touch can match the crazy macro that Oya pulled off versus Gornish, because remember, True Touch in the earlier stages played versus a couple Protoss players, who was it, Tech and Sneasel, and he got behind but was able to recover with his really nice Hydra multitask. We'll see if that can stand up to someone versus Oya. And then of course we've got the Kings facing off in Dawid versus Boneth, and neither one of these players wants to lose at all. Boneth winning BSL last season and Dawid winning RCG last season, so definitely a bit of importance in this particular match.
Yeah, for sure. Bottom side of the bracket, absolute heavyweights. So of course, eagerly anticipating those games tomorrow. That's going to be it for today. Again, we had Avilov and Koget in that first match where Avilov took it 3-1, and then Terra and BoA in that second game, 3-2 for Terra. Again, two of my favorite players, honestly. They're just such nice guys, like extremely well mannered. Both of them saw it in that interview, just really kind words for each other. So, honestly, especially after you like have this tough match against like a great opponent and they really make you work for it, and you both struggle in those games, like you can only start feeling a bit of respect for one another, and you kind of saw it there. So very wholesome. Again, on the BSL, there's a wholesome tournament. Terra versus Avilov is going to be the semifinals, but you guys won't want to miss tomorrow because we're gonna have some sick games. Before we go though, Mike, how about you read off some of that Patreon?
Yeah, if you want to support the BSL, definitely think about becoming a Patreon supporter. Of course, we want to thank Esports Fund so much for being the main sponsor of BSL. Also, at the $100 level, we have Star Lover. $50 level, we've got Grail and Striker, Bombastic Major, Tupacalypse, and Gruglog. At the $20 level, X Civil War X, Christian Eddington, Mad Catz Fury Road, Martin Harzmar, LML Lingenpump, and Comcheck, and all you other Patreon supporters, thank you so much. Remember, at the $10 level, you get all the replays from the BSL. You can see Terror's insane builds on Gold Rush, for example, and get the exact build order if you want.
Yep.
So definitely think about supporting us that way. And I think that's going to be it.
Well, also check out the shop, guys.
Yes, that's right.
I think, do we still have the coupons going, the Bombastic? Yeah, so guys, code Bombastic, you get what, 20% off of whatever purchase. Just some sexy, some sexy polos, t-shirts, and hoodies, and socks, and mugs, and caps, and everything you would ever want. Wear that BSL shirt around. Have people ask you, huh, BSL, what is that? And then you can just answer by saying, well, it's basically ASL, but better.
That's what the B stands for.
And then also, guys, make sure to check out the YouTube channel. I think it's youtube.com/Zero. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I'm sure Zero will also link that in the chat. Make sure to check that out. It is where all the VODs are going to be posted at. So make sure you guys subscribe, and hopefully one of these days we're going to get onto the YouTube algorithm and BSL is going to blow up and we're going to get the 30,000 viewers like Age of Empires 2 is getting, right? Soon enough.
I don't know anything about the algorithm, but hopefully BSL will blow up. Every season we get more and more viewers every single time. If you look at the history that Zero made, the chart just goes straight up. It's awesome. So guys, thank you so much for watching.
Straight to the moon.
Oh yeah, straight to the moon. What was your saying? He threw so hard he threw it to Mars.
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember, man. It was the spur of the moment. I know, that was really funny. I actually outdone myself. I had some good ones.
I think you outdid yourself with your BSL comment right there. I was like, okay, where's he going with this? And then, okay, I got it.
Yeah, well, that's gonna be it for us, guys. Today was sick. Tomorrow's gonna be sick. I don't want to say sicker because this was sick, but it's gonna be sicker probably. I'm not. I'm Guy. He's not. And we're out.